I want to prepare to be wowed. I am trying so hard to get through the current season and the current meta that we are in. I just truly do not. I've tried so hard to get into it, you know? And it's just not my thing, man. It's just not my thing. I like when they have, like, these, like, kind of videos. You get a lot of information across very quickly, you know, which is good. There's those new little mask things.
Do not test me. None shall pass.
Taking aim.
All right, we got a neat skin, so Smite is still Smite.
Challenge me is foolish.
To me, creatures of death.
That's a crazy Medusa skin.
I win again.
Dude, the
light
previous tier
returns.
5 has an alternate reward. Oh, weird.
In a flash, victory will be ours!
You cannot run from your demons.
Let's show these bad guys who's boss.
Time to take care of business.
Okay. Presumably, that was a little bit of a spoiler.
Hello,
of the
everybody,
next
and
god.
welcome to another Smite update show. This time for the season of celebration.
Let me know
My
if I
name
should
is
turn 'em
Titan
up or
Dandy,
down or
and
not.
I'm joined here by two other amazing people from the Smite community or from the Smite team, Clumsy and Aggro. I almost said learn. You almost got me.
Yeah, you almost.
got
We
me.
were memeing about
I
it.
had all their names written down, and he was like, "Hey, remember, there's only two of us right here." So he tripped me up, so I'm ruined.
He does that
Either
all the
way,
time.
welcome to the show. Super excited for the season of celebration. As is the theme, we have so many cool things to celebrate, as has been all of year 10. And we're excited to kick it off. But first, I do have to tell you, usually I'd be all like, check out the update notes, like follow us along. But the update notes aren't going to be up right now because they're kind of mad at us. It's just the website's being strange. We'll get it up as soon as we
kind
can.
of
You know,
mad
keep
at
your eye
us.
out. We'll
Okay.
definitely, there'll be a tweet that goes out about it. But for
Kinda
the time
mad.
being, this is going to be your one-stop shop for all the information about the update coming up literally next week. So we're going to start off by talking about just a few little community news things. I like to kick it off with the news, like to talk with y'all, tell y'all what's up. Starting with the Salt Tournament. That is this weekend and the first weekend of September, so like September
Salt
2nd.
Tournament,
So
huh?
tune in over the next couple weekends for some awesome content to get more of that really cool esports stuff going on. So we had the really awesome Roll Stars thing that just finished. That was super fun to watch. I was loving every bit of it, and I'm excited for more as we go through the next couple weeks. Another thing I wanted to tell you all about
Embracing
is,
the
I don't know
true
if y'all
nature
saw
of
the
Smite.
tweet, but we have a Scylla plushie now. It is very angry looking and also very adorable and available now. So make sure to check that out. Just look at it. I absolutely love it.
It's so good.
So another beautiful addition to the Smite plushie collection. It's going to go right next to my Ymir and my Danza. So I don't have the Kepri one. I wasn't that cool. But
It's a
but
little
super excited.
South
Make sure to check
Parky,
it out.
if you catch
One
my
last
drift.
little note
You know what I'm
is
saying? It's
esports-related
a
stuff.
little-
We actually have
it's a
phase 2
little
kicking
South
off
Park.
September 8th. So we have a little while. It's not, this weekend. Like I said, we have the Salt Tournament coming up, but keep your eyes
It's
on
kind of
esports for
cursed, like a
phase 2.
knockoff. It
Coming
is.
up quicker than
It
you
is.
think. So every time you read a date in the future, you're like, oh, that's a few weeks off, but the time will fly and we will be back in the action. Looking forward to it. Next up, celebration event. This is the season of celebration. It's something that has happened before, but for those who aren't familiar with it, the celebration event is just us celebrating Smite and the beautiful community we love by giving y'all free stuff. So starting with the update, you can play one match every day for 2 weeks, and you will be able to claim free rewards. It's that simple. Just hop in, play a game of Smite, earn your reward for the day. There is only one reward per day, and they persist only for that day. So if you see something you want on the cool calendar spin wheel, make sure you hop in and log in on that day to get it, because if you miss it, it's gone. And another cool thing about this is if you claim 6 prizes, we give you an extra prize. It's like a prize for earning prizes. We love to give away things. And that would be actually a skin called Ebon Knight Lancelot. Let's take a look at the card art.
That is badass.
That's an
That
angry
is
pony.
incredible.
The red eye on the horse is
Right.
it's creepy.
It's an angry horse. So, but again, absolutely
I'll
free,
say
and
what
all
I
you have
say.
to do to win this is
Come up with your own
earn
unique
6
dialogue,
of the prizes from throughout
dandy.
the celebration event, which is literally just play 6 games of Smite over 6 different days. So, we like to make it nice and easy for these because who wants to stress about celebrating? So again, 2 weeks worth of prizes, and all you got to do is play. Love it.
All you gotta do is
So
play.
among the many things we're going to talk about today, we have a brand new map style, and we've teased it a little bit. Y'all have seen it throughout our Twitter posts and some of the videos we've released, but we really want to get in depth with it, starting with this trailer here. So see you in a second.
Presumably, there's supposed to be a little bit of audio. I mean, all right, whatever. Visuals is cool. It's more immersive this way. We really got to be into it. There it is. Hey. I see you with your god mode on, Ishtar. Bingo, bango, bongo drums. Bingo, bango, bongo drums. Is it like getting to choose what buff you want to spawn?
Welcome back. I hope y'all enjoyed that little glimpse
Or
into
what
the
buff
map.
you
We're going
want?
to be taking a much deeper dive. But first, let's kind of talk about what people can expect. So we're in the season of celebration. Obviously, a new season. The map is getting some changes. So what do you think people can look forward to?
Well, with this season, we've got the map lifting back out of the underworld and into the light. So I think that's one really big component of it. Is just, you know, we're going to be having the brand new lighting, the skybox. We're going to have
Looks like they got some
uplifted
brand new
spirits
lighting,
where we
to
can
be
now
honest.
fight back out of the darkness. And into
Aggro
light.
was
And
like
I think, you know,
lit.
Raining into the end of the year with kind of this lighter mood is going to be a really big difference. I think our players are really excited for that.
Yeah, when we get to do the dark, spooky maps, it's really fun. It's a nice little change of pace. But I think everyone always gets excited when we get to these really bright, you know,
angelic.
big open maps where it feels like you're battling on top of the Mount Olympus that we've done before. You know, just coming out of the underworld here with this map. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous.
Awesome. Well, I mean, nothing that we can really say would be as good as being able to get in and see it. So as we talk, how about we hop in and look around the map a little bit?
Yeah, these seasonal changes are always just like a testament to the work of the environment teams. It's always really badass just to see, you know, from their mood boarding
looks
to
like all
to
the
what we actually
buffs
get
are
into the game, the set
mostly in
dressing.
the same
You know, they put a lot
spots?
of love and care into the small, tiny things. So I think we even, you know, wrote a little bit on the blog post, wrote in the
No
in the
immediate
update,
moving on those.
patch notes as well. Just
The
like look
duo
around.
lane
You know,
no
it's
longer
it's not
has
always
a
just these
shield
little
buff, it
potions
looks
and
like.
bottles and
Thank
trinkets.
God.
The canopy above you is changing. You know,
Wait,
there's
maybe
a lot
no,
of
it does. It
spiritual
has a
and
different
kind of
layout,
new
though.
aesthetics.
It has
across the map.
not shield buff
There's
buff?
of course,
It's not
the new
yellow?
mechanics to the Conquest map itself. So
It
what
looks
we've
like
got
it's a
here is
different
we've got the
camp?
first round of Harpy camps is going to be spawning between the blue and the red on the FG side of the map. And then after that first round
Maybe
of
it's like a
Harpies,
regular
will
Harpy
be the
camp?
new mechanic, the Shaman leader camps.
Ooh, all right. Shaman leader camp. So
Yeah, we'll get back to those in a second.
Yeah,
because
we'll get there.
Recruitment's new. Another massive component to the Season of Celebration Conquest map is the Fire Giant Pit. It is brand new environments, brand new like aesthetics.
That's a cool Fire Giant
built
pit.
up architecture feel. It's more open than ever. You know, we went
It's a
from like a Season 0
very
of it
open
being an
pit.
enclosed volcano to kind of just this broad new area. You know, there's actually a little corridor here that you can kind of corner people in or try, you know, use to escape.
Yep.
But there's going to be a lot more ambush opportunities. There's going to be a lot more opportunities to kind of get in there and fight and flee.
That is some thin lava.
been
That is true.
very
That is some
hectic in a
very
great
thin
way,
lava.
during the contests around the Fire Giant
That's funny.
fights that
You're right. That
many
is a
angles of
very
attack that you can come from mean
small
that
strip.
getting in there and causing some havoc out of nowhere on a Fire Giant fight is really, really easy, but also makes it so that defenders have a lot of really interesting options on where they can spring traps on enemy teams who are coming in to stop them from doing a Fire Giant. So
Pasta and
you know,
lava.
these Fire Giant fights are usually the culmination of a long match and where a lot of matches are decided. So any amount of change over here ends up making a really big impact, but we think that players will really enjoy this slight change.
In
to the
general,
layout,
I think a
that will
more
change the
open
dynamic of
Fire
the fights a
Giant
little
pit
bit.
is just
even
better
some
than
of
a
the,
closed
like,
off
rocks and
Fire Giant
geometry
pit.
around the Fire Giant
So.
pit, not just within it itself has changed. You see some like some of the smaller rocks.
If you
combined to
recall,
a little
closed
larger
off
ones,
Fire
and they've
Giant
just kind of
in like
moved
the
and shifted
Season
around.
0
So it's
map,
not just
it's
the architecture
not
itself, It's
good.
kind of the surrounding jungle like this area here too. Also,
Closing off
Pyromancer,
the
that
pit
middle
is
camp
not
as well,
good. It
has
does
actually
look
shifted
like there is
orientation,
still
so
a
they're
shield
on the
buff Enduro,
other side,
which is
closer to the
super
Fire Giant.
unfortunate.
It's small things like this that like actually do end up
I really
feeling
thought it
very
was
different
gone
when you
at
get into
first.
gameplay,
Yep.
especially
Just
when
spotting.
you're contesting over these camps or something. You get a different kind of view and layout of the enemy side of the jungle.
Yeah, a little bit easier to make sure that enemy mid laners aren't just tossing one
You can
ability
see
over
that
the wall
totem buff
to steal
boy down there,
Pyromancer.
whatever
Now
that
that it's kind
purple
of on
guy
the
is.
opposite side, it forces them to commit a little bit more in order to come in and contest.
Yeah, that's incredible. And it's always crazy, too, watching these, you know, diving into the map, because obviously
Mid lane
it's not only
seems
the
to
aesthetics that change,
have
like you mentioned, but there's geometry, there's layout changes.
mostly
You know,
the
your
same
usual path
design.
might have a rock in the way that you didn't expect. Or,
Those
I mean,
harpies are on the
fire
opposite
giant.
side.
No longer can you just set up Umoja wall and block off an entire side from the enemy. You really have to be more tactful with what you're doing, and it opens up these more options for combating and doing these team fights and how you're going to play that out. And I'm really excited to do it myself, but to also see other people get their hands on it and see what kind of crazy strats they come up with. So, you mentioned the Shaman camp earlier.
Oh,
let's talk
bro,
about
relax.
that. What is the Shaman camp?
Yeah, so after that initial Harpy camp that we saw earlier, you killed, and we can get into why it's that rotation as well later on.
Okay.
But the next 5 rotations of that camp will be the new Shaman camp. So there's going to be a Shaman leader. So we can see that here, guarded by 2 of kind of the little boss creatures from the other camps.
Yeah.
And once these are killed,
Odin.
they'll empower a new spirit.
Relax.
So we've got to get the invader out of the way here.
Yeah, true.
He's trying to stop that, which in fact is actually a thing. If you are trying to invade into the enemy's camp, or you're getting invaded, and you try and kill the Shaman leaders, you can do that for the gold and the XP, but you will not deny the Spirit Totem empowerment. That cycle still continues.
Okay.
So here you can see we've got the purple effects. This Spirit Totem effect is going to be there, and it's going to accumulate for every jungle buff. So while we're at the red camp right now, this is presence now. This purple augments on all the ones, and if it's activated, so you can see from the pedestal, you can see from the Spirit Totem itself, this new red buff will give you the mini Spirit Totem augment of the Violet Spirit Totem.
Okay, and you said of the Violet Spirit Totem. So how many colors of Spirit Totem are there?
So
We got 5 different
Gives you
colors
an
of Spirit Totems
additional
that you'll be able to
buff.
access. And again, as Clumsy mentioned, every time you kill this brand new camp, it will add another option on to your buff for you to choose from. So it's not like you'll get all 5 augments on your buff. You will choose one by basic attacking it. It'll change the color on the circle there. That as you saw, it's kind of like a purple outline,
Yeah, purple ring.
right around this red buff. And then when you pick up the red buff, you will also get the augment.
Presumably, when those other masks pop up, you can hit it and it changes the circle, which changes the effect.
You just have a little bit more choice on the extras that you can
Presumably.
Got it. And this is for every buff then, right?
for every buff. Yep.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, there it
So
is.
if
on-
there's
on
only
yellow
one
buff.
there,
That's
you
awesome.
have
Some
to
other
have
fun
that
things
buff,
as
but as the
well,
other ones spawn, you get more of a choice.
The randomization of these Shaman leaders was there for each map, so that like every time you go in, you may not get. So this was the purple this time around. It may not be purple the first time. The next time you play. However, it's going to be mirrored for each team. So if the Order side is Violet,
Good.
the Chaos side will also be Violet, because we want to make
Good.
sure at least.
I was
that
about
stays,
to say, if it's
symmetrical.
random,
Yeah.
that could
So
be a
it's random, but
disaster
there's still
if one of them
balance,
ends up
and
being
both
OP.
teams are never- it's
But
not
as long
like,
as both
you know,
sides are getting the
tanks are
same
getting one
buff, that's
while
fine.
the hunters are getting a buff on the other team. It's-
Right, or their
Both
buffs
teams
are getting
have to be
better
getting the
augments
same
than we're
buff.
getting for our team comps. You know, it's mirrored randomness, which always ends up being a little bit more fair. But making it so that the camps change order every time you play. That this time, I'm really excited to get Violet buff. You know, it gives attack speed. I'm an attack speed warrior. I'm going to dominate lane as soon as I get Violet buff. I didn't get Violet until later this time. What can I do in order to change up my strengths or use these augments that I am getting in order to have it affect my lane state really positively? Or, hey, I got bailed out because I happened to get Violet right when I needed it.
Yeah.
And now I'm a lot stronger.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to make sure that this system, added depth to the gameplay of the characters, added depth to like the experience that you have on the Conquest map, but also wasn't just overly confusing. There's a default that's chosen. You can switch this whenever you want, even when the buff drop has landed, like the buff camp has been killed and the buff drops land.
Presumably, they're like small versions of their color representation.
Red and red or whatever it may be.
Okay,
The effects
purple
aren't
is like
always
just
the
a little
same.
attack speed, you know?
So, for example, the red Spirit Totem, the Crimson one, gives you lifesteal instead of just additional power. And, we want to be, that's a whole different topic of just being cognizant about the amount of player power people get.
Yeah.
But it's generally, all these choices are going to be good choices. It's just, how far do you want to min-max between your character, your situation, and what time of the game it is. Some of these other more experienced players might choose between, lifesteal a little bit early for the sustain, switching to attack speed, switching to health maybe in the late game.
So it's
You
not
can
when
switch
it
this as
drops.
much as you want throughout the game. You'll always, once you've accumulated these Spirit
10
They don't go away,
10%
and once the
max
5
health
camps
and
has been killed,
mana.
they revert back to Harpy camps,
Seems,
and you're done playing
that
with the
seems
introduction
good.
of that system. Now you get to just play with which
That seems
totems
good.
you want to empower throughout the game.
Yeah, and that proposes a really interesting gameplay shift too, because you know, with them being random, say you get a buff that's incredibly great for your solo laner. Maybe now the jungler puts a little more focus on helping the solo laner get ahead because you have that advantage, or it really gives a lot of that
does
shift.
seem
Now,
better than
you've
10%
talked
attack
about
speed.
there
I
being
cannot
colors,
deny.
But what do each of the different
does
colored
seem
totems
better.
do? That's my question.
Sure, so I can go over those real quick. We've already seen Violet, which gives you that attack speed.
Yeah.
That's 10% attack speed. We just saw Verdant get picked up, which is 10% max health and mana.
Okay.
I was loving this in the solo lane in our playtest yesterday.
I bet.
Azure Spirit, that'll be blue, is going to be 10% CDR. So if you're a character that really loves that cooldown reduction
pretty
early,
strong.
seeing an Azure
Pretty
totem
strong.
is going to be really beneficial to you.
Yeah.
And then we've got Clumsy already mentioned Crimson Spirit, which is 7% physical and magical lifesteal. And then we finally have Golden Spirit, which is 5% penetration. So those damage characters that might not be as auto-attack focused or care as much about lifesteal, you can get a pretty significant boost from that Golden Spirit in order to help kill those tanks.
Seems like
yeah,
they went
getting some
with
of those ability assassins
a
online.
little
real quick with that
pen,
golden
so
totem.
that way they weren't
That's
putting
really
more
awesome. All right,
attack
and I
speed
love
or
the
more
effects
movement
too.
speed into the game.
You know, I was talking with some people about this earlier. Our UI team really went crazy with all these different masks. Seeing them on Twitter, seeing people reply to them, all of the like, OMG, the green one is so me. Like, could not agree more. Absolutely love their design. They are just funky little fellows.
Green
I want like
and blue
an actual like
sounded
carved
the
LED
strongest to
version
me right
of all
off
of
the
them to
bat.
hang on my
That
wall.
would be sick.
Those are incredible looking.
Yeah.
Super awesome. Well, I mean, I guess, is there anything else that y'all wanted to
I
cover
see
as
no
we
reason
continue,
why
to look through
Tiamat
this
could
season
not have
celebration
two.
map?
Well, we
Tiamat
also
can pick
have
up two
some
buffs,
changes
which
to
means
the
she should be
Stygian
able to have
beacon,
two separate masks.
as
She
well as
should
the
be able to
Unleashed
have 4
Titan.
buffs.
So, you know, the beacon is charging right now. How well timed and how convenient. We've been really happy with how the beacon system has encouraged teams to group up and fight while not simultaneously punishing those who might be too far behind in order to do it. It provides this really
The
good
mask
point of
thing is
interest.
cool, but I do
But it
have
was
some
doing
stuff
it
to say about it afterwards.
up until you hit your cap of 3 and then it was kind of gone. Now we're making a change so that you will now get a second loop after the Unleashed Titans both die. So 5 minutes after the Unleashed Titans die, a new Stygian beacon loop will begin.
Got it.
We just feel like we can use this map objective to encourage even more interaction with the enemy team, even beyond that first loop of 3 that we had.
I'm worried if they don't.
And in addition to that, the
change.
reward of the Stygian beacon is also changing, so it's moving away from that movement speed, which you know we heard feedback from the players as well, is that increasing movement speed throughout the game for every player
Thank
you know
God.
might lead to some
just
issues
about to
down the
get
line.
to
Well,
it.
we didn't really notice that, especially with the stacking up to 3%. That could be split
I was
between
about
the
to
team.
say,
we want
if
to
you
take a
get
different approach here to also
6%
look at
movement
other
speed
issues. And we've talked about this before with the
globally,
snowball and comeback mechanics, which we're going to get into a little bit later.
Yeah.
Now the Stygian beacon reward is going to be giving you a simple 1% physical and magical power per stack, which will now be uncapped to the 6th, or be the new cap to the 6th. Stygian
much
beacon loops
prefer
you can
that.
have
Yeah, if you get all
instead of just the 3.
Much
so
prefer that.
1% doesn't seem like a lot, which you can get to towards 5 and 6%. You know,
Highly
if you,
prefer.
If you're getting
It's
all
a
of those,
strong
it does make a difference, and,
objective
you know,
that
you should be
doesn't
rewarded
directly
at that
make
point
the
in
game more
And
frustrating.
we're also well aware
Way
that
better
a
than speed.
second Unleashed Titan push contention is going to be happening very, very late into the game. You know, that's around 40 to 45 minutes, and that's very much intended. We don't expect all games to go to that length. This is more so just like a mitigating circumstance to help end the game if it does get to it. And we also don't want it to be a forced end at 45
Because that's
minutes.
nice.
It's just
If you were
another
to get to the end of a game, and you got 6% power
Got
boost.
it. Well, super
That's a
cool.
lot
I
of
mean,
power, especially
I
if you're
personally
somebody
love
like
that a
a
lot.
Scylla or a
Stygian Beacon has been
Cabrakan
one
that
of my
gets like
favorite
bonus power
additions
as
to the
well.
Conquest map in a while, because I love having that, like, all right, we've been laning for a while, we're kind of gotten into our rotations, but now we have
That's
this
nice.
big objective we can all fight over.
But just
It's
bonus
one that
movement
you
speed
wanna
is just
claim
frustrating
because it does feel
playing
good to
against,
get
you
those
know.
buffs for your team. It feels good to win a team fight under this beacon, but at the same time, if you end up losing or you have to call a retreat because you know you just don't have what it takes to get that team fight, you don't feel like the game is over, you know?
Yeah, I think one of my other favorite parts about that is is the kind of, you know, capture the point, king of the hill mechanic where it does cause teams to fight. But if you're really just that far behind and, like, you know, maybe your mid laners ahead, they can poke them off, and you in the hunt as a hunter in the soul or a warrior in the soul lane, you can just farm and just, you know, maybe your opponent went to go contest the point instead. You actually get maybe even more XP and gold in the short term for that time, so it actually can help you come back ahead.
Everything seems cool
Again, it's
so
like
far.
All of these changes, it's all about the ebb and flow of the game and you paying attention.
I
to
do
what's
have
gonna
a
be the most
concern
profitable
with
for you, and
those.
I like that. I like things that give you
But
this
that's
change. And
less.
I also like all these shiny colors. I'm glad that we've
Yeah.
kept getting them.
It's
So
a little bit more
a
of
couple
just a
more general
generic
conquest balance things that we want
conquest
to talk
problem
about.
than
So
anything.
Cyclops chests and a little bit of farm shifting. So
Right.
let's dive into, I guess, first the Cyclops chest.
We talked, well, in general, the preamble for this one.
Alright, do it.
We talked a little bit about comeback mechanics and snowball. One thing that we've been very cognizant going into this year, and I think we wrote a little bit about that on the patch notes and the blog post, about the game length as we went on through this year has climbed a little bit, and we want to make sure that we don't just get to ridiculous proportions. You know, we've talked to SPL players, and we've seen the feedback from the community about how, you know, games just sometimes won't end, and we have introduced mechanics like the Cyclops chest to make sure that comebacks are important for the early to mid game and are viable. However, we want to continue making sure that we mitigate how strong that may be. It's okay for there to be comeback mechanics. That's what we strive for.
Yeah.
We also want to make sure that they're not overly strong. So just like we did once before, we're kind of just doing a repeat on the same metrics that we found to be successful, which is reducing the strength of the gold deficit or the gold gain from the chests just by a very, very little bit, and also some farm shifts from your own safe jungle camps to the more contestable neutral ones.
Awesome. Well, that sounds good. I guess the last thing to talk about in this particular area, a little less on the map now, but we have some general changes to things, starting with a ranked reset, it looks like.
Yeah, so ranked players at all MMR values will now have some sort of reset applied to them in ranked Conquest, ranked Joust, and ranked Duel. In particular, capped players with capped MMR, you know, 3,500, they'll be reset to 3,000, and that effect gets proportionally weaker down the MMR scale.
Yeah, as we go down.
Right, so players close to 1,500 will notice only a very slight reset, but we think that,
that's a pretty
you know,
small
we've seen
reset.
that resetting players who are just at the top is good for those players to continue to restart that climb, and we don't want to negate all the progress that these players have made throughout the year and throughout the season, but not, you know, reopening the door. If you maybe had a couple tough games at the beginning of the season, now you want to, you know, you tanked your MMR, you lost a little bit of motivation, now a little bit of that reset, the door's back open, you have another opportunity to get off on a better start.
And this is the same cadence that we've been doing this year for the seasonal changes.
Come on, go for it.
Well, the last thing, and this is cool actually, I like this a lot, is additional time for game starts.
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to get any of my behind-the-scenes
there for a few
changes
reasons,
that I want,
but,
unfortunately.
and we haven't gotten into it just yet, but we found for whether it's on the Conquest map for the kind of new types of starts, although I would argue that this, because the Harpy rotation is there from the beginning, Conquest is less of a reason to, but when new items kind of come into play, we want to make sure that there's additional time for players to...
New items?
So yeah, you know,
a little bit of extra time.
We might.
Okay.
You got a long time at the start of Conquest.
Oh, yeah.
Long
There's something
time.
coming up.
2 full minutes of sitting there.
You know, discover how that might change their starts and their purchases. And this is something that, you know, as people get more comfortable, we might kind of revert this change. It's something we've done in the past too. Just letting people get used to all the new shifts.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I get into a game and I'm like, oh, like I got some new stuff. What do I want? And then it's like camps are spawning in 4 seconds.
Yes.
Oh no.
Exactly.
So I'm a fan of it for season changes like this. I think that's a really cool idea because it gives me a little more breathing room to figure out what I'm going to take into this game. So
what you're choosing off the menu, so to
exactly.
speak.
Exactly. In so many words.
Yes.
So next up, we're going to talk a little bit more about some cosmetic stuff, some fun chesty and skinny type stuff. Starting with the reward chest.
Chesty
wild card Merlin in it. I love this
stuff.
skin. We got the card art.
Ooh,
that is really
that's
cool.
cool.
He has the type of smile you can just trust, you know?
Yeah, very trustworthy guy.
I haven't seen this one. This is very interesting.
I'd give him my social security number.
You love large chests.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, cool.
I like how vibrant.
So does
it is.
Iris.
Yeah, that hand,
They love
the
large chests.
Gloves too.
dark hand, yeah, with the glove, that
Oh,
looks really cool.
He's always kind of got this spell focus as well, and then it's the rotating card now. That is awesome. I like
Yeah.
that a
Yep.
lot.
Every time we do a card theme, like I really love the Izanami T5 with the whole,
Yep.
the whole
Slam
it's
dunk.
just absolutely incredible. I actually have a deck of cards from that like we.
Oh, yeah.
made. I love it.
What's
It's a
up,
treasured
turtle?
possession of mine. So
How are you
again,
doing?
available in the wild card or in the reward chest, wild card Merlin. I'm mixing my words up here because the intimidating smile risen me up. All right, so next up, this one's exciting, and this is a bonus update. So I want to put this out there. Not going to be coming out next week. You got to wait a little while longer, but you know we love talking about stuff early, especially when it's as awesome as this. We have more Magic the Gathering crossover headed your way
Let's go.
with Garruk Shock.
Let's go. Yeah, when we were talking about the various planeswalkers that could come over in our work with Wizards of the Coast, Garruk was obviously one of the ones that came up. He's had a big resurgence. You know, he finally broke his curse in the story not too long ago, and he's the first planeswalker. Like when planeswalkers first started coming out, Garruk was the first.
Yeah.
And he's gotten so many iconic cards over the years, and he's got a big axe, and he beats you up. What does Chalk do? He's got a big axe and he beats you up. It's a perfect combination.
You just have to go crit now with the skin. You know?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to. It's just what he's gonna do. Yeah,
Don't
it's
say that.
It's awesome.
Don't say
it
that,
was a lot of
Fonzie.
fun. I got the chance to write
Don't
this
you put
voice
that
pack.
on me, Ricky Bobby.
It's kind of set in that timing of he was cursed and doing a lot of not so great things, you know, taking down a lot of other planeswalkers, but he's recently
building
freed
crit?
that curse and
Is he building crit?
has
'Cause
that,
that wouldn't
new
be so great.
perspective and all that kind of stuff. So a little bit of darkness of a hint there, but he is the mono green Chalk, not your Golgari, you know, cursed huntsman type of feel.
That's awesome. And with something like this, it would be a shame not to go check it out in game. So let's do just that. Let's dive out in game.
Yeah, I was super excited to get a chance to do to do even more Magic stuff, because every chance I get, I'm playing a Magic skin, man. It's everything. This has looked so awesome.
Chalk has
Absolutely
a lot of
don't blame
skins.
you either. And I love you know, you mentioned that mono green, and you can see it in
He has
the
a lot of
abilities
skins.
too, you know. Oh, that's so is that a ram running around? That's awesome.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's so
So cool. I love all the effects. Like
And
again,
this
we have a
will
lot
be
of
one
Magic
of them.
players here that were super big fans of this content. And
That
just cutting them loose
three
and letting them add flair to these skins is
kind of
incredible.
hard
And
to
joining us
see.
actually on the mic for this is Lermy.
Yeah, resident mono green player here.
Had to bring
Very,
Is that right?
very psyched to have Garruk in the game. I love playing some big ol' stompa decks, and Garruk's Planeswalkers have a very solid place in that
Is
deck.
that what you were beating Chaos with the other day?
Oh no, that was mono green devotion. I
Oh,
wish
okay,
I could put him in that. That's a Kiora deck.
That's all right. It's only a matter of time. You know, you'll be before. So either way, super excited for this.
What's up, Darcy?
Love
How are
getting to
you?
continue down this skin line. And again, just to be clear, bonus update. It's not going to be out on Tuesday. I know, heart's broken. I get that. It will be coming out with the bonus updates. That's going to be a few weeks down the road. But keep your eye out for it. It will be in addition to the Magic chest, so you can roll the Magic chest to get this, or you
okay.
can direct purchase the skin if you want. But again, gotta wait for the bonus update. Sorry, I know. I hate to tease it this early for y'all,
It
but
does
we
hurt
had
a
to
little
talk
bit,
about it. You know,
for
It's
sure.
not something looks that good.
Hurts a lot
so,
of bit.
Next up,
Gotta be honest.
another event to talk about. We have a new battle pass coming with the new season, the Celestial Syndicate battle pass, which I am super pumped for. If y'all are familiar, we did kind of an Infernal Syndicate thing earlier.
Series
Yeah.
This is the opposite side of that. This is like
They're like
a
rivals.
warring faction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of all like the devilry in the dark, you got kind of they're still a syndicate. You know, they still got that thug look to them, but they
They're stylish.
yeah, they're stylish. I guess it's refined. But so I'm super excited for that. So that will be a new battle pass launching in the season of Celebration. And there are a lot of cosmetics, a lot of rewards throughout the battle pass. But obviously there are some really incredible skins that we're going to get to show off here, starting with Celestial Mayhem Discordia.
This skin was so much fun. Between the like golden effects and just like her attitude, she's got this like boss attitude where she's
Yeah.
not taking any
believe
crap
we're
from
in the
any
skin
demons or
segment.
devils. She's just gonna beat him up.
We
and
got
then,
tricked into the
get back to
skin
it.
segment.
Love her hair.
I was about to say, Discordia always has good hair in her skin.
They
I feel like
lured
that's
us
just,
in with
a
Conquest
universal
changes.
truth.
Nice.
This-
And
this
now they
is
know we'll
like-
stick
So good.
around for
so,
balance.
Like, so suave, so stylish.
They know.
Suave is a good word for it, because yeah, it's about the suits. It's about like that crisp, clean style. Like they command attention and respect just by the way they dress.
I like it that the wings as well are just like super clean and pristine and kind of just like continue to radiate that.
Yeah, because normally she has like the chaotic magic,
Yeah.
right? But these
Yeah.
are like actual like angel wings.
And they're not like overly ornate either,
Yeah.
right? Like
No.
they're not just like armored up or anything like that. They're very cool.
Yeah, they almost look like stonework. It's
I'm not a
crazy.
big
Let's go
Discordia
in game
guy.
and check it out. You know, I want to see this
Ooh.
in game.
Dude, and that passive right off the bat,
Right?
that's how you know. All Discordia players gotta be having that.
True. If you're not the one carrying the passive, you got to step up a little bit. Nice. Ooh, I like there are like wings in that orb.
Oh, that's really nice. Okay, that's cute too.
Actually, I don't know if that's true.
Bye,
I don't know if I'm not a
Odin.
big Discordia guy. It just, he just hasn't
Advantaged,
been very
silly guy.
strong in a while.
That was not to mess with the Syndicate. Oh, I was
That's
looking
awesome.
for the
Hasn't
snipe.
been her meta.
So another super cool skin. I always love Discordia's effects too. You know, like all of her abilities just have like they carry effects super well. So when we unleash our FX teams and our animators to play with these and to make them look as incredible as they do, I feel like they don't miss. So
Oh, it's very pretty.
absolutely love it. So next up we have another skin, Celestial Deliverer Mercury.
Oh,
We got our oh gosh.
We went for the purple scheme here.
this
Love
one
it.
might be my favorite Mercury skin ever.
Yeah.
Like Run.exe is gonna have a hard time keeping up.
Run.exe.
He's
Wow.
hunky. Like I don't know where else to go with that. He's suave. He's got the
He really
rose.
is. He's in between jobs right now. He's
Yeah, is that right? Okay.
Dang, you
He's
got the
trying to
wall.
That is backstory.
woo a couple maidens here, and then he's off on his
between
next
jobs?
Yeah.
off on his next bounty. You know how it is.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know. Like we're talking about a syndicate
Oh,
here.
wow.
Okay.
That's- yeah.
The sunglasses
That's
are
very cool.
fire. I don't know why. I thought you meant like in between.
I
jobs. Like,
hate
he's like,
that.
oh, he's got an interview at 4.
I
I
hate
was
it.
like, oh,
Yeah, for
but
his 9 to 5.
yeah,
Damn, the,
That's what he tells the ladies anyway.
true.
the material work on the suit is really cool. It's got,
Yes.
like this very
Velvet.
yeah, the velvet, but you can see there's an ornate material as well, like an inscriptions on it.
I don't
that's,
know
like,
what
there
it
with the
is
sheen.
about it, but
that's
like
really
the,
awesome.
It's
the
got,
like
like, claws,
shoulder,
too.
hand,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
feet,
super cool.
I'm gonna
dangly
have to buy one of those
thingies.
for World somehow. I don't know how. I have to hit up my Celestial Tailor, I guess.
I don't know.
But so another super cool skin I'm excited for, followed by Celestial Stinger Amuzen Cobb.
Celestial
Ooh.
Stinger. Oh, okay. Sweet.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I like how we're going from like suave dude to
I don't like
Stinger of
Mercury's
Death.
dangly thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
He is certainly a
Confirmed.
scary angel. That's
Confirmed.
Yeah. I mean, the people below him seem to be, you know, like just worship a little bit and you'll be fine.
For sure. Well, yeah, that's how he gets his power, you know.
That's true. So yet another skin. Ooh, though, like
Ooh, the like violet.
yeah,
like
like the
the-
ombre
Was
out
not
in the
expecting
wings.
that.
on
That
the
looks
wing feather
really
tips.
nice.
Is this
Ooh,
the
and
third
like,
recolor on this
column, like-
Yeah, they
particular
look like
AM?
combs, but they look like
AMC
kinda
skin?
ancient, you know.
Yeah.
Like this is some like primordial angel guy that's not necessarily a good guy, but he definitely
doing
is
his
one to
duty.
be worshipped.
Yeah, he gets the job done. All
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely.
So the last skin we're going to talk about here is one I'm super excited about. I mean, I'm excited about all of them, but this one kind of really hits at the top here. Celestial Inferno Surtur.
Gotta
Yeah,
do
this is
some
just-
double
Okay.
dipping, you
I
know,
can't
some double
lie.
dipping.
I'm not biased.
Triple
either.
dipping in
Like,
that
this is just awesome.
A
Yeah.
big sword, check. Big wings, check. Big dude, also check.
Yeah.
You've got all of them.
You got the pecs. You got that like.
Yeah,
that
but one of the previous
white,
guys had a
brilliant
big
hair
chop.
with the
Yeah,
black beard,
that's part of it too. Like I play a lot of like mage characters in RPGs and stuff.
How does he
but
compete?
I always go for the kind of
You know?
wizened but badass aesthetic, and he's got that. Like
He
I
has
go
it.
for the the whiter gray hair,
Yeah.
like with like a little bit of like a clean shaven beard, and that just looks sick. Like he's just, oh yeah, that's
He
awesome.
looks like the boss. Absolutely.
He is the
does look
boss.
like the boss.
Look at him. Oh, that's awesome.
See, and now I'm thinking of the other Syndicate boss. Who was it? It was Thanatos, I
Thanatos,
think.
yeah.
And they like you have.
Hair curl. Oh.
It's just, they like I want to see them match staring down each other because I think that would be a very
Do
intimidating.
sky
fight.
ultimates too?
Everybody gets wings. If you don't have
You know, one
wings,
of
you're
them's
gonna
a
have
giant
wings, and you're gonna
rock.
like them.
Let's see how that works out for old Fanny.
That's true. All right. I mean, I want to see what the giant rock.
That's
is
true.
like.
Let's-
We're gonna go in
Oh.
game. We're gonna look at
Perfect.
it.
Oh, and the imps too.
Oh, the imps too. All right. Let's.
Oh, he's got the like trail on the ground with the
Yeah.
sword too, and that's like all shiny.
Again,
I remember
it's,
you
it's a
talking about
completely different
how
color.
cool that tech was.
Yeah, that they definitely took a lot of time to get that working in. So seeing it like skinned as well is it's definitely.
Oh.
Oh, and it's gonna be empowered with the one. I didn't even
There
think
we
about
go.
Oh
that.
my god. Do that again. Do it again.
Yeah, I like how they like. pull it out.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's so cool.
Sick.
Oh, I see the little imps fighting down there too.
Oh my gosh.
Look at him, buddy.
I can't.
What is
oh my
wrong
God.
I mean, he is the
Imp.
boss.
He's
He
like-
commands his mini truck.
He's like converted the dude.
It's a big boy.
Blend.
There it is.
Very large.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Whoa.
Oh, that's a
Not even a rock at all. He's just a beam of light.
Yeah,
Very
a
large.
celestial beam of light.
They kind of look like little golems, yeah.
That
Not
one
like-
might
not
be the
like
coolest thing.
A
Doing
mechanical
animation
guy,
while
but
you're
like
doing,
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Like a little.
lightning
Oh, yeah.
falling,
Oh, yeah.
like-
That's what it looks like.
That's so cool.
Oh, that is yeah, I absolutely
It
love it.
does.
Every time we release a new god, and Serta's been out for a long time, but I remember I said it for him too. I said, you know, that's the type of ability that I want to see skins for.
Yeah.
Because when you have an ability as epic and grandiose as that, when you skin it, there's just no way it can't look incredible. So to go from, you know, this giant molten boulder to a massive like beam ray of light, it's super awesome, and I will always be looking forward to what's next. So our teams are incredible. All right, well that does it for the Celestial Syndicate Battle Pass. Again, launching
Okay.
next week. That's Tuesday.
That was an
with,
okay Battle
The
Pass.
Season of Celebration. But, you know,
That was
we've
okay.
teased this a little
Clumsy,
bit.
what is that
We've made the
shirt
Let 'em
just a little
Cook
bit?
memes.
Just a little- What is
We have some
happening?
item balance, and we couldn't get into items without talking about what's new. You know, the reason that match duration extension seems like a good idea is because we want y'all to be able to look at this new stuff and figure out how am I going to pop off this game with these new items. And our new items are recipes, you know? We went to the kitchen, we chefed it up. Well, not me, the designers and a bunch of other really talented people. I just got to like stare at it and feel hungry all the time. But and we
That was a problem during this.
that was, right? So I guess let's get into recipes. What are recipes in Smite?
Right, so recipes are a brand new type of item. They're going to be actually listed under the starter item category. So in the store filter, you'll see starter item / recipes.
Okay.
These are something that we expect every player to get at the beginning of games alongside their starter items.
Got it.
And that doesn't mean that you're going to just have like less value for items at the beginning of the game, because these cost 0 gold.
Absolutely free.
You're picking up. You're going to see these 5 different types of recipes. You're going to pick up
Okay.
one of them for free. They even go to like the last slot in your inventory as well, which was like fun little added new tech. The program
Yeah.
team helped a lot with all of
Yeah.
these. And so these are evolving items essentially. They have
Okay.
2 quest steps each one. They all have the same kind of system alongside them. And then you go through one. They have 0 stats, so 0 gold, 0 stats. It helps you there. And every time you progress from one step to another,
Yeah.
you actually get a little bit of a gold reward. So it's an incentive to continue going forwards.
Got it.
And then when you finally complete the second step, you get the completed dish. You're done cooking. You follow the quest steps and
Chefed it up.
you've chefed it up, and you
And
get a
then
final
served.
dish.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're served that final dish, which again has no stats. It has a primary passive benefit. It lasts an infinite duration until you sell it for 0 gold. And that's something we said on the blog post as well. It's, you know, we expect you players to get this early on, and you'll finish it, you know, before
Each
10 minutes
recipe is
ideally.
a mini
And late game,
quest.
you just sell whatever you haven't finished eating.
Yeah.
50 gold. You
So
get
what, you get a
125
little doggy
gold,
bag?
Exactly.
Get rid of
auto
that. Well, that's super cool, and I absolutely love that. I'm always
It's like
a fan
a-
of things
it's like
that they give
everybody
you those additional
becomes
quests, you know? So, like, I'm
Gilgamesh,
farming,
I
I'm
guess?
paying attention. Maybe I'm not winning lane.
Everybody
but-
gets
so
like
I
a
have something
little
else to do, you know? I'm
quest.
hugging tower, and I'm trying to get these quests done and get my little
Yep.
benefit in.
All the
so.
quests for the different recipes were definitely designed such that if you want to min-max them, if you really want to chase completing these as fast as possible to get that ultimate, to get maybe even the gold along the way, and then the ultimate passive reward as fast as possible,
Okay,
you
so
can, you can
there's-
try and do this as
There's
as
some
best you can
sort
to
of
finish as
passive
quickly as
attached
you
to
can.
these
However, if you're
items.
falling behind and you don't think you can min-max it that
So.
well, you will likely still complete
There's
this
more than
at a
just
healthy
the
period of
gold.
time.
There's
It's not
some
going
sort
to take you
of
till the end of the game, like
passive
as you're buying your 6th
effect.
item before you get that final dish. You will complete it in a fair time, because we want to make sure, again, that snowball and comeback mechanic argument that we talked about before, this is not a new method.
There
of
is a
what we're taking.
0% chance
Also,
that this
we
works
didn't
on
want to just,
Morgan.
you know, increase player power at the end of
There
the
is
game.
a
You know, we
0%
want to find
chance.
that very delicate balance between making sure
Yeah.
that players aren't too strong.
wanna
with
know
the
what the
end game builds,
dishes
and this is just
do,
one way
though.
of kind of a twist of the early to mid game that is diminished in the late game.
Yeah, and one other thing about these is that these are not role locked. You can buy them
Exactly.
in any role that you want. They are designed with a role in mind, that it is probably easier to do it in. But you can buy it anywhere. I've been experimenting a lot with that, seeing what I can buy in jungle, what I can get in solo, and it's a lot of fun to try different things on different characters. So we really recommend, you know, trying it out the first time, maybe with the one that we recommend for the role. But again, mix it up, show us what you got, and feel free to cook. Go ahead.
Yeah, feel free to cook. That's something we've always done too, you know, like things will be designed for certain roles and will work technically better in those roles, but that's as far as we're aware, you know. We love seeing people flex, we love seeing y'all experiment, and if y'all pop off and say, hey, yo, this hunter one, like, buy this as the assassin, because, like, there's some crazy stuff you can do.
Because at the end of the day, it's always based on these class archetypes as well. Because as these are items, they're
Wanna know
available
the
in all
passives.
game modes.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be able to get all of these recipes in all game modes, with the caveat of, I
With-
believe,
with
one.
two. There's two
Party
exceptions.
punch being like the,
The
one
real
recipe
question
not
is,
available
can
in
you
Arena
buy
and
and
Assault,
cook
yes,
a
and you'll see
Domino's
why.
new
Yeah.
We'll get into that
pepperoni stuffed cheesy.
Yeah, this is for your own
That's
good.
all I
know
care
that you
about
wanna
anymore.
Party with the party punch.
Yep,
but,
that's true.
We'll get to it.
Yep.
You have all the other ones and all the other game modes.
That's the real question.
And yeah, we're excited to see what combination of things that people pick up.
Well, I think we've talked enough about them theoretically. Let's pop open the recipe book and start going down the list. Let's kick off with golden gooseberries.
Yeah, so we can briefly go through what they are. Like I said, there's no stats on any of these. So golden gooseberries is the more hunter-oriented one or basic attack-oriented one. The first step is kill some minions, simply put. You can do this
Easy
as lane
enough.
minions or jungle minions. There is a distinction between those.
This is washing the berries,
brought
right? You're
back-
getting them ready.
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
Golden
Step 2, so once you've done that, you get your 50 gold like you do for all of them. You move on to step 2, which happens automatically. You don't need to go back to base or anything.
Perfect.
You then need to deal 750 damage with basic attacks. Again, this is incentivizing the basic attack-oriented gameplay.
Yeah.
A lot of these quests are simple things that you've seen before. Like I said, we didn't want to
They
break
brought
down and make
back
sure they're all
Golden Bow.
mode agnostic. And then finally, you've done step 1, you've done step 2, and you get the final dish, the actual golden gooseberries themselves, which is, you might have seen this before, and it's very specifically chosen this way, but your basic attacks will also hit enemies within a 10-unit radius for 30% of the damage to gods and 50% of the damage to minions. This is effectively a way of introducing a golden blade-like effect for everyone who wants it without having to worry about the stats. Also at a diminished amount and diminished radius, so it is a weaker effect.
Excuse
and
me,
Golden
Incon,
Blade
it's
is
not a
still
bow,
inside in the
it's
game,
a
so you
gooseberry.
can technically double up on these. But
I'm gonna
theoretically,
goose
you
your
shouldn't
berry
need
if you're
to.
not
If
careful.
you just wanted to splash
Okay.
with this, if you just wanted this in the hunter lane to help,
I'll do
get a
it,
better
so help
clear
me.
later on as you progress. This will help you get there.
Yeah, this is also not necessarily a replacement for anyone like your Arachnes, your Mercs, or Collies that are getting it in the jungle. You can also get
It's
this.
not so
But,
problematic
instead,
on
so it's
those
not a
gods. It's
replacement.
gonna be
We're not getting rid of
problematic
Golden
on like
Blade.
the
But
Freyas
it's there if
of
you
want
to try and experiment.
And if you want both, it does work, but it's
You
not
know?
like as
It's not crazy.
yeah, it's not it's crazy, and you're really. You could have been flexing into something else that could have helped you out in your gameplay instead.
Yeah.
But, we're excited to see it.
Yeah, because again, I mean, no gold, which is awesome. It's no gold. You complete some missions, you get this awesome
But
effect.
we'll see what
but
the
there's
rest
no stats
are.
with it either. So if you're trading out Golden Blade,
I mean, that is
then
a
you're missing
strong
out on those
ass
stats,
effect.
and you could just get a free pass.
So
and choose a different
presumably
item.
they're all
Exactly.
gonna be
Gold pass.
pretty
So,
strong.
Next
you know?
up, Sturdy Stew.
Yeah, the Sturdy Stew. First one for this. This is
40
our more
assists.
support-oriented one.
Crowd
As you can
control
see by our
10
first step, which is
times.
to obtain 40 minion assists.
Okay.
So,
Being
a
hit
couple
by
waves
hard
go
CC
by.
creates
Jungle
a
camps
pulse.
also count for this, so literally
Applies
any minion on the map,
protections to yourself
and you will be getting
allies.
those. Second step is to crowd control enemy gods 10 times, and you can't gain more than one stack per 1 second. So if you're thinking like, oh, I'm Aries chained someone, you
Yeah.
gotta wait the whole time, and then it'll go off again, or like
Okay.
Nox,
Not nearly as
or
strong.
Ganesh, or any of these characters that have the channeled CCs. Those guys don't have an inherent advantage in getting those stacked. But the final dish is that when you are hit by a hard crowd control, you will pulse out a protection aura, basically, that happens one time. And that will be 5 protections
That's
plus
pretty
1
sturdy.
per level to yourself and allies within 55 units for
this
5
one's
seconds with an internal cooldown. of 10
Clearly
seconds.
oriented at
Gotcha.
supports,
Looks
but
super cool. Again,
kinda boring.
I love all the quests. Those
You
type
know?
of things. It's like I'm playing a game and I get to play more game while playing game. It's a win.
Even these passive effects themselves, like they are almost a little bit more passive.
at the end of the
than some
day,
others.
a
Like,
little bit
they have a
more
purpose to them. They're there
protections
for a
on
reason to help
top of
you out,
like
but
a
you don't need to,
Thebes, on
like,
top of like a
min-max them
prophetic.
at all
Like
times.
it
So, yeah,
adds
especially,
up very fast. It's
if
just
you're
not
doing the
super
right
exciting.
things and you're tanking and you're getting hit by the abilities over your teammates, you're helping your teammates out.
Yeah,
You know?
you're doing what you're supposed to do. Absolutely love it. Next up, Bountiful Bow.
Yeah, I think this is the one where just like, as soon as we were brainstorming different ones, and as soon as we came up with the idea of like, there needs to be dumplings
Rich
about.
food,
This,
yeah.
this,
This
this just
is
needs to happen.
Instantly
Spend
cleansing with what we're
1,000
doing.
mana.
Yeah, it's like I need bow
Deal
no matter what.
2,000 god
and-
damage.
And then I think I can't remember who suggested
Not
this for like, the word
ultimate.
just bountiful. I'm like,
Its
that's amazing.
cooldown is
Bountiful
reduced by
That's
bow.
how we knew that one had to be
1.5.
alliteration.
It had to be
That's
I
a
wanted to
strong
comment.
I think we
one.
went backwards and we made sure all of them had alliteration.
Yeah, they all
'cause
have
I
alliteration.
think only like 2 of them did at this point. I'm like, you know what, bountiful bow.
All
is
of them
just
got
perfect.
it.
Yeah.
And also shout outs to
That's
Kalani
a
as well for
strong
the
one.
UI art. Like they all look amazing.
look
And
Certain
that's actually what I was
characters will
talking
be
about
able
before.
to
It's like every
abuse
time we were
that.
like going back and forth on the UI art, we're like, okay,
Every 8
well,
seconds.
maybe we like expense a trip to go get some food because
Yeah.
like this is
For
just research. at this
research.
point.
Yeah, you're making
Yeah.
sure that it aesthetically is the right. So I think you nailed it.
Yep.
Honestly.
So Bountiful Bow is the more ability or mage focused one.
Got it.
Step 1, simply spend some mana.
I want to actually pause you there real quick because you may just say, oh, but I can use abilities, before the timer happens. But it actually actually does not count. You have to wait till the game starts, and whatever match you're in, that's variable time, of course.
Yep.
But the game actually has to begin, so everyone's on a fair playing field there in terms of.
I can't wait for people to like not listen to this and still
This
start
is
spamming it.
this
Yeah.
is like the
Doesn't work, you
one
have
that
to
you'd be
wait.
happy to
Sure,
keep
Osiris,
the
that's how we're
longest
helping you out
in the game. you
Step
know?
2, so the counterpart
So
to the other
far.
one, you're going to have to deal god damage with abilities. Again, specifically god damage. So you have to actually be aggressive and find the enemy gods and hit them. Abilities over the basic attacks this time.
Yeah.
And then finally, for that ability-focused dish effect, when you use a non-ultimate ability, that cooldown is reduced by 1.5 seconds. And that effect itself has an
Honestly,
internal
this
cooldown
seems
of 8 seconds.
way
So,
better
again,
as a
something
support.
that you can definitely min-max if you want to. You can
Geb
start thinking
shield
about,
minus 1.5
kind of like
seconds
Milan's
cooldown on
passive, which
Geb
ability
shield?
you're gonna
Hell
use
yeah.
first.
Yeah.
You know?
However,
Hell
you know,
yeah.
if you don't want to think about that, you're just going to get a ubiquitous benefit as long as you just have that final dish active.
Yeah, it's just going to be helping you out, even if you're not like really focusing on it.
Yep.
So, cool. Next up, continuing the alliteration, it's a party punch ton.
Yeah, so this is one for our junglers. This one is the one
Kill jungle
again that was
minions,
banned in the other modes.
traverse
And the
units.
reason why is because you have to
Every
kill or
100 travel,
assist
get a
30
buff.
jungle minions, and in assault there's none.
So it's basically Mercury
In
passive?
arena,
Yeah.
there's 6, but
It's Mercury
30, I
passive.
mean that takes you getting
gonna take a
every
while.
single
everybody
buff
gets it.
on the map for
What if
5
the fire giant
So
counts
they're
for,
all
like,
kind of Gilgamesh
Yeah, there you go.
passive.
Just have to wait till he
Yeah,
spawns.
In a
It's
way,
not
where it's a
really
little
even-
quest.
It's a little to
And
the
then
end of
some
it,
of them
yeah,
are quests
not
to
a
get
big
other
deal.
characters' passives.
Okay, but step 2 for Party Punch, again, junglers keep in mind, traverse 1,500 units.
Yep.
So just walk around the map, do your rotations, and keep traveling, and you will get that step 2 done to obtain your final dish.
Mercury's
which
gonna
is
love this
every
one.
100 units that
He's
you
just
travel,
gonna
you get a
double
buff,
down, you
and
know?
That buff will deal 20 plus 15% of your physical
He's getting
or
the
magical power.
2-for-1 deal
as
at
physical
Costco with
damage.
this.
Exactly.
So either mages, guardians, magicals or physicals can get this, but it will always do physical damage.
Got it.
And it will trigger on your next basic attack or ability. And this also procs on NPCs as well. So any of your jungle camps this can proc on. I believe it does not proc on towers though. But generally it is.
It also
rotate
presumably
and then, get
has
the right
a
amount
cap.
of movement for you
It says
to get
every
that
100
big
units
ol'
traveled.
wackaroni and-
Presumably you cannot
Wackaroni.
infinitely stack
Party
this
punch,
and
not
then
wackaroni.
And
one punch
once
somebody.
you start picking this up in the game, you'll see that like 100 units. This isn't a large investment of time like that. You'll get this multiple times in team
Yeah.
fights.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's super cool. Sounds like Mercury would be a fan of that one.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
He loves it.
He loves walking around. All right. So the last one here, the durable drumstick.
Kind of as the name alludes, and the only archetype that we haven't hit yet is the Soul Lane Warriors for the most part, or just your tankier characters, because you
Deal
can pick
with
this up
take
on Guardians
damage,
or anyone else. if you wish to.
we got 20
But here
times.
you're dealing
Out
or
of
taking
combat
god damage
grants you
here.
a
So now it's kind of
buff.
on the receiving side.
Yeah.
Deal some damage if you can kind of build that up a bit more. But if you're taking damage, if you're being hit a lot, now you're stacking this too.
Got it.
Step 2, after you finish
Nah.
the first step, you successfully damage an enemy god. 20
Nah,
times
give me
with
the
basic attacks or
cooldown
abilities,
in
so now you're-
solo.
you're
Give me the
damaging them back. Now, this is
cooldown.
always like, you want to be aggressive. You want to hit enemy
Yeah.
gods specifically. It won't work off of minions or towers, but be aggressive. And then for your reward, being out of combat, which is the 5 seconds, you get a buff that reduces the damage of the next basic attack or ability by 20%.
Yeah.
So, you do your thing, you kind of weave between the fights, and every time you come out of combat, you'll then be, a little bit tankier the next time you engage.
Yeah.
Or
Every time
engage
you
not.
leave combat, you make sure to eat another drumstick, and the next time you get
Exactly.
hit by something, not
Yeah.
that big a deal. You feel pretty good.
Yeah, who can eat the most wings by the
Yeah,
end of
that
the game?
one
Is that
does
how it
not,
is?
Yeah.
Every time you're no, well, that's
That
a new way
one
of spinning
is
it. You
my
just, like,
least favorite. Yeah, I
bountiful
agree.
bow, whatever. You're off the internal cooldown. You just eat a bow and it refunds the cooldown.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay.
We added like every god has pockets full of food.
Yeah, exactly.
how it
Yeah,
is.
hell, some of the
So, yeah,
characters in
you're
solo
gonna see-
want probably
you're
the
gonna see
AoE
Mercury with,
autos,
like a
dude.
handful of punch out
I'll
of his
bring
pocket
back
and
maybe
just
some of the
kinda
auto
just-
attackers.
He's got like one of those like
They get a
hats,
golden
right,
blade
that's
without
just
having to buy it,
like-
so they
Yeah,
can
you're
buy
exactly
defenses
right.
instead. You know.
Oh, man.
I think Bacchus has that one actually.
Well, with that, he does. With that cursed image in my head, so there are a few additional notes here at the bottom if y'all want to go over. Just little.
Yeah, we
little
kind of did this in a preface, but we can run through them again
Yeah,
really
you
quick.
definitely did.
You can only ever have one recipe at a time. You can only ever purchase one recipe, but that's after you complete a step. Once you've completed a step, you can no longer buy a new recipe, but anytime before that first step is done, feel free to swap them out. Of course, you will lose progress on the one that you have if you do want to swap it out, but until that first step is done, you are free to change out, but again, once you have done that first step, you can't buy it again. We talked about this earlier, but the item is slotted automatically in the last inventory slot. This is just kind of to incentivize people to hang on to it until they need that true last item, sixth item slot.
It just also helps you distinguish it because it's like everyone generally is going to be having this. So when you press that tab screen, look at the scoreboard.
You know
like
exactly
you can
what
see
it
like all the starter items.
Yeah.
And you see on the other side, you can see all the recipes. It just has this great mirroring effect.
Yeah, if you do want to sell it for any reason, it's sold for 0 gold, so you're not really getting anything from it in that instance. So again, hang on to it until you really need to get rid of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the starter item section will be starter items / recipes now, and that's where you can find them. And then again, Party Punch is not available in Arena and Assault, and that's for your own good. We
Yeah,
tried it.
that's-
Promise, it's not that good.
Yeah, it won't work for you. We swear.
They
So,
seem
as
Someone who made that
okay.
mistake.
Some of them
It'll
are
be
like
fine. All right, well, cool.
the
Super excited
golden
for those
bow
super
one
excited
is
to
the
be
one that's
hungry
like
while playing Smite.
could literally
which,
help bring
you know.
characters.
Yeah,
into
we should
the
need like a
meta,
food sponsor now too, just like to go alongside this.
So any food sponsors out there, hit us up. We will literally do it in a heartbeat. So we're all foodies here. So let's move on to some more general item balance, all right? Because obviously there's plenty of item balance, and you know, I said this at the beginning of the show. Usually this is where I'd say we're not covering every single item. Check out the update notes, and you still should, but I'm not sure if they're live quite yet. As soon as the website starts working again, we're gonna get it out. But as luck would have it, we sat down. We were like, all right, notes are ready. You know, I slaved over them. I whipped them up, not quite as hard as the durable drumstick, but you know, I tried. And then they were like, website, not today, champ. So turns out 404 error got hands. So as soon as that's up, you can go and check out anything we don't talk about. But we have some pretty cool balance we're going to get into, starting with some starter items. So Mannequin Scepter, Mannequin Mace, both kind of getting a change.
Yeah, so in this pass, we wanted to have a look at some of the, specifically 2 of the different paths of items that were starter items that were underutilized, a little bit, you know, less exciting. So Mannequin Scepter being one of them. Simple one here is going to be reducing the gold. Usually that's kind of just almost like an offhanded change that you see for tier 3 items, but for a starter item, that actually means a lot. That means, you know, you can compare it to the other one. You can get 2 more pots. You're 100 gold closer to your next.
I prefer
actual
them
item.
to make it cheaper than to buff it, to be honest, because when Mannequin Scepter's meta, there's like 7
as
of them.
favorable. If
Well,
you did go Mannequin Scepter,
no,
well,
okay.
now it's got 15% attack speed on it, which is a really big deal.
Yeah, that's
you know, we wanted to make sure that we found an opportunity to, you know, add a stat that we thought would be very helpful for that effect and for the builds that you go for mannequins.
Okay.
And we also increased that health just by a little notch of 75 to 100 to incentivize giving that a try.
I mean,
And
that's
if we need
the
to dial this back down
upgrade,
later on,
so-
that's fine. But we have some really other strong jungle options as well, so we wanted to make sure that this felt competitive.
Yeah, bring it up into the fight. So next up, it looks like we have a kind of a trio of shrouds: vampiric, blood-soaked, and sacrificial, all kind of on the change docket.
Yeah, so these guys were never really the most popular mage starter items, and with the change to lifesteal way back in 10.3, if you remember
that
the season
is
of
way
that
more
whole thing,
impactful than the
we did a
mannequin
lot of healing
change.
changes at that point too, and since then lifesteals felt a bit meh.
That's
People
a
have not been
significant
going
buff
towards that
to,
option
like,
very much,
the
and so I want to
Anubises of
encourage
the
people to at
world.
least try it again,
Okay.
especially because the starter is getting
And,
a
like,
couple of buffs
Zonquil.
here, in that it's getting increased lifesteal from 4% to 6%, and you're getting an increased mana restore from 6 to 8 every time that you hit an ability. You'll get some more mana back, which will
It's
be
a
nice.
thick buff,
and then, of course,
actually.
as
It's
we move to the
pretty thick.
upgrades, these were also another one of those lifesteal changes.
Oh, and
Bloodsoak,
about
the
the
first one,
upgrades too.
is getting
Oh
the
yeah, they're
lifesteal
getting
change
thick.
from 10 to 12%. So again, up 2%. And then the magical power is also going up by just a little bit, just to make it overall a little bit more healthier stat-wise for that late game part. And then Sacrificial Shroud, which is, you know, generally the more popular item. We wanted to be careful about the power on this one because of the increased damage aspect of it, of course.
Those are
but this also is getting
strong
that lifesteal
buffs
change.
to the
So even though you are
vampiric
paying
chain.
some health to gain that extra
Strong
damage ability,
buffs.
you will be able to get a little bit more back.
Got it. Awesome. Sounds good. I mean, Anubis player, you know, all about the lifesteal. So,
Oh, yeah.
ever since he could walk, you know, we've been best friends. But to kind of shift a little bit, let's talk about Absolution. CC immunity on it's getting a little love.
So like we said, you know, we've got some of these general items now. We're not going to be going through all of them, but Absolution was one of the ones that it never quite like took off. It's honestly one of the ones that we were.
It's very
I wouldn't say the
interesting.
most concerned about, but one we definitely wanted to have an eye on when we were working on it internally. CC immunity is not something that we take lightly, and I think one of the internal dev numbers I think might have been actually double at like 2 seconds. Or something like that.
It was very high when we tested it.
Yeah, we found the middle ground of the 1.5 seconds. You know, we want to try this out, see how it feels.
Yeah.
But we do think that there is a break point, and if this gets too good, it's going to be picked up all the time. So, you know, maybe we need to look at the stats some more later on, but we think the passive does need a little bit of help. And we do know that if it gets
It is
a little bit
definitely one
higher,
of
it
those
can get
items
too
where,
strong.
like, if
Got
it
it.
became too strong.
All right, continuing down the A train, we have Aussie.
Yeah, so Aussie is kind of another one of those hunter items that has fallen off in recent metas due to, again, the lifesteal changes and a shift to it that we did rather recently to make it more of a high power item to slot
know if
better
that
into
fixes
Transcendence
it.
builds versus
but-
Dev Gloves, which is more of your like basic attack oriented build. But anyway, Aussie was just not the easiest option to go in that second slot because it did lose its pen in that interaction. But in this kind of change here, we're hoping to give it a little bit more excitement to actually go in that second slot by making it a little bit cheaper, 50 gold, but also, again, boosting that power to 45, which is no joke.
Oh, no.
It's no joke now. You might look at 45 power and go, that doesn't feel like that much. But
Yeah,
when you look at a lot of the more expensive items and they're hitting like 50 power, like 60 power, like 45 is
that power stats
really close
yeah,
to
it's up
that.
there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that does actually help it quite a bit. And the last thing that we're doing to Aussie is we're increasing the passive health threshold from 50 to 60, which
That
we've
is
done a
nice.
little bit across the board just to experiment with how this feels.
I mean,
And
that's a
generally,
good buff for
it has been
Aussie.
very exciting to
But
have that a little bit more often.
Does
have
it
that feeling of
beat
extreme,
flat
like, I can fight back now
You know?
feeling. So we are excited to see how
Is
that
really
works.
what it comes down
Super
to.
cool. Love
Does
to
it
hear
beat
it.
flat pen?
As we continue down the list, Erosion is next up. Also a little cheaper, getting some love.
Yeah, just a little bit of help there. Erosion's one of those items that, like, you know, a lot of players want to pick it up,
Yeah.
especially when enemies have that the shielding effects, but they just found it not to be as valuable or a little bit hard to use, right? So with a little bit of the gold shift, and now it just lets you feel less bad about picking it up. But also, more specifically, the raise increase means it just is a little bit easier to apply at all times.
I like that.
You want to be very careful not to have it just be the basic attack range, which is 55 for the range.
I want
Yeah.
because that's just on all the time. Like,
Erosion,
that's just
in my
all that's
opinion, is a
hard
perfect
to
item.
come to like circumvent.
It's an item that you
This still
specifically
should
buy
require a
to
little bit of,
counter
like, the
certain
counter mechanic.
characters
You know, if
or
you
actives
really
or
want to
whatever.
affect
I wish
someone
there was
and stop the
more
shielding, you
things
have to
like
go
that.
towards
Yeah,
it.
you
You can't
gotta
just
get
be
closer.
around the vicinity.
Awesome.
So we think these two
Last
shifts
just like,
will
oh,
really
I buy
help
this item every
Erosion
time
feel,
because
you know,
it's
better
OP
at all
stat
angles.
wise.
Well, I've always loved
More-
its card art at
Oh,
least, so I'm
this is good in this
super happy.
situation.
I don't know.
Here's that
It's really
situation.
cool. I love
It
that
does
it's
look
dark
really
and
sick.
green. Like absolutely adore it. So next up, Mail of Renewal on the change list.
Yeah, so this was another support item that kind of fell off a little bit with the introduction of Prophetic Cloak at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Healing got a bit of a change, which also knocked it down a couple pegs. So we wanted to make sure that Mail of Renewal kind of had a little bit of a place. And so we are kind of doing a little bit of a squish here where you get less stacks. We're increasing the amount of protections per stack,
Okay.
and we're decreasing the internal cooldown of the heal. So theoretically, it will be
Okay.
not only easier to get the big heal, it will be happening more frequently, in
Got it.
theory. So it will generally just happen more often, so
theory?
you can really feel that strength of that heal.
Awesome.
Everything is mine.
I-
On paper,
Guardian
in
player,
theory.
love to hear it. So
Well,
next
you
up,
won't
it
love
looks
to
like
hear
we-
this, I'm sorry.
it looks like we sharpened Toxic Blade a little bit.
Yes, exactly. Toxic Blade, you know, is going to be still. So, Toxic Blade has. Yeah, it's just like, where do I want to start with this one?
Yeah.
Toxic Blade is an item that, you know, I think the community and is a little bit split about still in which the directions that it can go. Every time we revisit it and look at its stats, look at its price point, it's still just like. It's very stat efficient. What it does and its passive that it has is still very good. There's a world where if we just trend along this lines and make sure that it feels appropriate for what it has, it will be worth picking up for what you're trying to do with the anti-heal effect.
It just doesn't.
However, we know that there are other options out there. By increasing its pen and not just like providing
It just
you know,
doesn't
physical and
slot
magical power
well.
in abundance, we're trying to make sure that it feels like it's
It
the right
just
choice
like
for the
the
aggressive players
stats
that
that
we want
it
picking up,
gives
whether
are
it's gonna be
just
the in-hand
too.
warriors or, you know, hunters or even
It's
mage
just not really
ADC.
how Smite works.
Alongside some of the other options, if you don't want to go Divine Ruin, if you don't want to go like Brawler's Beat Stick or anything like that,
Yeah.
you have a good basic attack focused item. You know, we're going to keep workshopping on this
Yeah.
one if we think that this didn't quite hit the mark. You know, we're not going to blow this penetration to like 50 or anything like that,
Yeah.
just to keep along the same lines. But we do think that there's a successful path for this item along its current routes.
Yep.
Cool.
If we're wrong and we're proven otherwise, I think that's something that we can definitely admit
Yeah, I
and
don't
look into
know.
in the future.
Awesome. I mean,
I
hey,
don't-
if there's one thing
I
that
just
I always love
don't
about,
know if
I mean,
no
all of us
power
in general,
or
but y'all's team who do a lot of this
protections,
balancing
you
work,
know?
it's that you take feedback very directly, and every time the community
like,
has
it
something and
just
they're like,
doesn't-
hey, listen, like,
It just doesn't
this
really
needs to happen.
slot.
This item needs to be, this god needs to be, whatever. Y'all are
It's
really
just
good
so
at looking at
difficult.
that and
It's-
working
the
with
stats
it.
that
So,
it has are
it's something I've
fine.
always
It's just
respected
not.
about your
It's not
team.
really
I
a
don't- I like-
character in Smite
so
that
how many
wants
things you have to juggle,
them
being able to take
that
all of this
can
feedback and
use
like make it
it.
life is impressive. So I'm
You
at least
know?
a huge fan of y'all.
Appreciate it.
So moving out of items and into gods,
Ooh.
this makes me laugh because, you know, I do writing for the show. I write the update notes, but they come from all of the cool balance that these people work on. And when we get this document that starts going over what we're going to change, what they're looking at, usually they sort it into sections. We have like some buffs, some nerfs, this and that. And the header for this time around was God's spicy changes.
Yeah.
And it killed me. So next
Spicy
up we have
changes.
some spicy changes.
I was writing that part. I was like, I don't know if there's a better way. These aren't reworks. These aren't like heavy. Like these are heavy shifts. They're just spicy. And And the season of celebration where we're cooking up a storm, I thought
Yeah.
this was still just the right thing
Yeah,
to
we
do.
gotta put some spice, somewhere else
Yeah.
as well. Gotta spread the love.
Yeah,
But, you know,
spread the spice.
As with the patch notes, the blog post might say, these changes, and the classic clumsy preamble, these
Classic.
changes aren't...
You heard it here first.
Yeah, exactly. They're not reworks. They're not on the
You heard
heavy
it here
shifts of
first,
something like
folks.
we
There's
did,
no spice in the
for
bows.
ESET or
It's
Longshan
white
or
people
anything like that.
bows.
But they're close. They're the next
No
best thing.
spice.
They're spicy god balance.
They certainly are.
We wanted to target
It's a
some of
cooking
these
joke
characters
for
who
ya.
might be underperforming or also are underutilized and aren't picked up as much as frequently. Some of these gods have slightly changed since we worked on this list, but for the most part, we felt pretty safe on just
Mayonnaise.
breathing new life to
Spicy.
these characters in simple enough ways. Some of these changes are a lot more simple than others. Some of these changes are heavy on the spice factor, and
Yeah.
you're going to need some ice cream
Certainly.
or milk after it.
Awesome. Well, hey, I love to
Very
hear
dairy.
that because I love big changes. You know, I love when things change. So let's dive head first. There's a whole bunch of stuff for each of these, and we're just gonna kick it off
Yeah.
with Apollo, kind of in the hunter's realm.
Go for it.
All right, so Apollo is a very old hunter, right?
Yes, true.
He's
He
from
is.
what?
Looks kind of young, but you know,
Well,
yeah.
well, not
Okay.
age-wise, but
It's God who knows.
age-wise.
He gets Griffin
Yeah,
wing.
so he's one of the oldest hunters in the game, and so we wanted to
Griffin
just give him a little
wing!
bit more spice, for lack of a
Yeah.
better term, right? So let's start off at the beginning with Audacity.
Okay.
So normally how this works is you get a couple basic attacks, you charge over your passive, and then your next couple shots have increased attack speed. But we wanted to give it a little bit more than that, so now those shots also have increased basic attack projectile speed. So they come out faster.
So, you know, something you might have seen like Griffin wings and stuff.
Yeah,
we're
tech
actually
we got with Griffin
putting that into the kit.
Okay.
Yep. And then additionally on top of that, so
Does it
beautiful. This is
stack
the
with
one, this is
Griffin
your right
wing?
and Clear.
Yeah.
And also your poke. So this projectile speed is going up as well from
Can you
110
just
to 150.
pop,
so
pop,
you're
pop,
not
pop,
really
pop,
gonna
pop.
know what those
Like, can
numbers
they go
mean
really
per se,
fast?
But
it is. It's a noticeable amount
It deploys
faster. It's
fast.
not like a scary amount. Like you can still definitely react to it, but it's a lot more. I do this and I'm done. You don't have to worry about like I have to get really close to them or really account for it. This is a little bit better as a ranged poke now than where it was before. That you had to be a little bit closer for the projectile to actually reach them in time. And then on top of that, we do also just want to give it a little bit more of that poke potential towards the late game.
Yeah.
So we're increasing that scaling by 5%.
Nice.
All right, let's move on. Serenade. This is the 2. This now also provides Apollo magical protections as
they
well
brought
as the
it
physical
back. That was a
protections. This actually
nerf.
was
That's
a
a
feature that
revert.
Apollo had
That's
all
a
the way back in
revert.
beta. And it
Yeah,
got
in
removed.
beta, right?
And now it's
Beta.
back.
I think, you know, we looked at the change, we're like, this is something that we can add, then we're just like, wait a second, did he ever have, like...
He did.
we
He did.
sure
I
did.
went
At
into
some
it. I
point,
went into it and I was like,
He
okay,
sure
when
did.
is
What
this
a
from? And
surprise.
I
scrolled,
remember.
scrolled.
I
Like an
played
hour
back
later.
then.
10
And
years
we
of
saw,
scrolling
yep,
later.
he did have it. So we will be giving him equal amounts magical protection.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
So, you know, he's not as, not a great matchup into your Freya's, your Souls, your Oleruns, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And then finally for Apollo, across
Wow,
the sky.
that's a lot of
This
Apollo love.
ultimate is a lot of fun when you get to ride around in the
Damn.
sky and have a good time, but sometimes it
Damn.
feels like you're taken out of the action for a little
Damn.
bit too long. So we've decreased the landing time by 0.2 seconds, and that might not feel like that much time, but believe me, when you're crashing down into the middle of 5 people,
That's
that
a
extra 0.2 seconds will mean a
huge
lot.
Yeah, it changes.
Group buff
So
for Apollo.
additionally, on top
Apollo's
of that, we
back
do
in
want the
town,
damage to actually
baby.
change for that. So we changed the tick rate down, or rather, we increased
Especially
the tick rate,
with
but the actual
Silver Branch
time per
being
tick
good right
went
now and that
down.
Aussie buff.
So you're still doing
plus
the same amount of damage.
AoE
the ticks are just coming a
autos
little bit
from
faster.
Apollo.
The knockup totally unchanged. And then additionally on top of this, the mana cost has been decreased pretty significantly at the late
Wait,
game.
everybody
only
listen.
A small amount.
Do you
at
hear
the
that?
Early game. So you will be able to fly
It's
around
the
a bit
faint
longer.
giggling
you won't have to really
of a
be kind
barracuda.
stuck into that
He's
transcendence
loving
build.
it.
If you do want to fly around a lot, you can kind of do it without having to worry about going into a mana item.
Got it. I mean, all of that was pretty crazy, you know, because to see damage changes and, cooldown changes, that's standard balance. That's bringing things in to make them as even as possible. But when you get into stuff
That
like
is a
projectile
thick
speeds or like the speed of
Apollo.
your
Yeah,
landing,
that's not
Thick.
something that we typically do.
those are
Spicy.
Spicy.
That's a spicy meatball
all right,
for
well, let's
sure.
continue
I love
on
Apollo,
with
so
another
I'm
hunter.
down.
We have Chernobog.
Yeah, Chernobog, not as old, but one that has like a couple of points of weakness per
Okay.
se, and it's
Don't
not
buff
always that we
Cherno.
want to
He's just better at
cause
Apollo.
those weaknesses to just be newfound
Maybe until the
strengths,
suffs.
but it's sometimes that we just want to make sure that we tweak those weaknesses so that we can make his playstyle just feel a little bit more fair at all times, and kind of just balance the characters to make them feel slightly more well-rounded. So Crystallized Curses, something that we've played around with a little while ago. We're going to just make sure we kind of make this the best, feel the best we can. In this circumstance, we're increasing the projectile speeds, similar to Apollo's 1.
Yeah.
The Crystallized Curses, the first ability, will be increasing
Wow,
its
we're really
deploy
giving
time,
Cherno a thick
getting
buff.
to the ground a little bit faster. In two different ways. The projectile speed's increasing, as well as the minimum air time is decreasing. So that way, if you're just doing it right underneath by your feet, it's getting to the ground even faster.
Okay, cool.
The collision radius is actually going to be increasing a little bit, 20 to 25. This just means that when you're using your second ability to proc that first one, you can actually just do it with a little bit more room. You don't have to kind of like line it up perfectly.
Yeah, so the visuals are not changing at all, but it will be slightly easier to hit.
Yep. And then, so this one's an interesting one. This ability will now slow enemies on the initial hit specifically, not on the secondary hit, but on the initial hit. And this can kind of help, whether
already
it's
a good
in team fights, just provide a little bit of CC, or if you want to, get someone in a good circumstance, or maybe even like delay and get your 2 into that scenario where you can actually pop it a little more safely. You can now get that slow. This is also going to be a shift because this slow is being removed from his third ability into Darkness. So, some of these spicy changes aren't always just buffs. They're actually just playing around with the kit.
Yeah.
So into Darkness, the slow has been removed. And in exchange, it's you're actually going to be traveling a little bit faster. So that dash speed itself will be a little bit quicker, and the damage itself is going to be going up.
Yep.
Also, finally, Vicious Barrage that attacks him. We've shifted the duration here. So again, a shift, not just a ubiquitous buff, from 3 to 5 seconds to 4 seconds at all ranks. And the reason why is because we actually decreased the cooldown by 5 full seconds, from 12 seconds to 7 seconds, decreasing the mana cost alongside with it. And the idea here is that you're going to be having less uptime, or less uptime of the actual buff itself
that's a buff
in the late game,
sure.
but you can just do it more frequently. You can kind of just get because it's not just in text we see, it's also just that large travel through projectile as well that is acting
that
like
does
a
basically
buff for
So
sure.
you can just do that loop even faster. You're kind of just weaving that in more often in between your actual ability kit.
Awesome.
So kind of just a shift in the way he plays and not just, just core strengths.
Yeah, super cool. And again, continuing to be spicy. Looks like we're kind of getting out of hunters now and moving into the assassin zone.
Yes.
So
I wonder why Apollo and Chernobog
Yes,
were
Arachne
chosen.
is a notorious character amongst the Smite Balance team. She is a pub stomper through and through, but when it comes to late game team fights, she really struggles. So our main goal
she
of this
really
is to give her a little bit
right
more
now?
flexibility when it comes to those late game fights, and to
Y'all
have
getting stopped
extra
by
tools
Arachne,
going
you
into,
noobs?
actual team
She
fights.
is not
that's just
good.
picking off one person at a time and running away. But first thing that we want to talk about here is Cocoon. So this is going to sound really scary when I said it first, but just hang on a second.
It's scary, Reed.
Hang with me here.
Okay.
We are decreasing the amount of hits that is required to stun from 3 to 2. And you might say, that's insane. It is very good.
It is
But
crazy.
the thing about Cocoon in its current state in Live Smite is that when you complete that stun, you lose the attack speed stem. And that happens regardless of what you hit, as many Arachne players will know. But now, the actual stim will not go away until, it's actually fully done. You can activate it, it's going to stay for the entire duration. But again, because it's changing, we want to decrease that stim from 6 seconds to 4 seconds. So now you keep that attack speed the whole time. You do stun after 2. If you miss any of those shots, you're done. You can't stun anymore.
Yeah.
But you keep the stim at the very least.
On average, it's probably just a longer duration overall.
Yeah,
It's not really stunning people at the end of your attacks. You're always doing it at the beginning.
Yes. So no matter what you hit after 2, you can no longer stun, but you are going to keep that attack speed stim, same values, for 4 seconds, which is very nice. Web, as well, is going to be another interesting change where, this is maybe the ability that you max last, depending on the mode that you're in. So generally want to make sure that she has a little bit more potential to, set them up and really use them as traps versus, just escaping and running away. So what's going to happen here is that the number of broodlings that you spawn will go up at rank 5 of this ability. So very, very late game when people are going to be able to kill the broodlings. If you are up against an Arachne, just be prepared for the 3 versus the 2. But again, rank 5 will be 3 broodlings instead of 2. And then finally, Nightcrawler, the ultimate. The leap range will be from 40 to 50 now. So while you're up in the air, you can leap a little bit farther. This is just really going to open up
some of the
a lot
modern
of new pathways for
walls
ganks over
are
walls that you
really
previously
hard
couldn't
for
before.
Arachne to get
Or if you're
over.
trying to gank and get out, this is going to be a little bit easier to do then as well.
Super cool. Hey, Arachne's not somebody I play all the time, but every so often you have one of those Arachne games, and it just feels
Sure
good.
would have
So
gotten me over that stupid wall.
I love to see a win
Sure
for
would have.
Arachne. Next up, Pele. Another
That does
assassin
not
on our
make
list.
Arachne
This one's
better,
more on the
though.
simple lines. There's only like 2 different changes, but I mean, this
Helps
first
her
one's
out,
really,
but that does
really
not make
spicy.
her meta.
Pyroclast, that's that first ability,
Yeah.
is now going to provide 5 to 9 fuel on
Whoa.
successful hit of an enemy.
Okay.
Okay,
And,
that's
like,
cool.
it's like waiting for like the
Any
ball
enemy.
to drop for the people listening.
Yeah.
Right? That means, you know, you previously didn't have a generator other than just time itself.
Yeah,
So when
waiting.
Pele's using that third ability, it's draining. While it's still draining, you can use and fire off that Pyroclast on any enemies, minions or gods alike, to start refunding that back. And the later the game goes on, the more that
Very
refund's going to
strong.
matter. So and you've got 2 charges of Pyroclast,
Yeah,
which means you
that's
can
true.
refund even more.
Really get it out
Yep.
there.
So, you know, again, it's
very
a simple one, but
strong.
it's a large gameplay shift. It's like we want to make sure that Pele's are using the third ability and riding the volcano more often and kind of, you know,
I
use
read
into T5
that
without having to
as
worry about it
per
just depleting,
enemy.
as much as you currently are.
That's
And then
how
finally
I
for the
read it.
ultimate, volcanic lightning, increase the number of those empowered hits you get from 3 to
Ooh,
4.
my
It decreases the basic
goodness.
attack damage reduction, which it actually does have on those hits, from just by 10%. Just a small shift in the balance there with
Wow.
the damage that you're dealing, but you're getting one entirely new extra attack.
Yeah, so it definitely balances out and even gives you some, you know, leans back in the more damage direction.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
super cool. All right, we're stepping out of Assassin Land and diving right into Mage Land
It's a big
with
Pele buff.
Raijin.
Raijin. Where do we
Give
even
this-
begin?
give this
with
kid a
little
buff.
Raijin? He once was a terror on the streets of,
Yeah,
of Conquest.
Give this kid a
Uh,
buff.
Once upon a time, he's fallen off a bit since then, and
Yeah.
you know, a couple of buffs here and there have helped him for sure. But fundamentally, we wanted to give him a little bit of a fresh look, and so this is going to be a very interesting change along the lines of Giannis and Syndicate, where Raijin will be gaining attack speed when you rank up your ultimate. You're wondering, attack speed? Why am I getting attack speed?
Raijin?
That seems strange. But the change to his passive that we've done here is that we are going to be giving him a new effect where every time he basic attacks an enemy, this can be a god, a minion, it can be anything, he gets non-ultimate ability cooldowns refunded by 0.2 seconds. So get your drums in, you know,
Yeah.
you slam the drums and you do a
Practice.
couple more beats and you get your practice in and then you're back in ready to go more than
Yeah.
ever. And that kind of does also feed into his cooldown nature of his passive.
Yeah.
So we wanted to give you a little bit something to do between all of the times that you're channeling. So you're always drumming now.
Yeah. It's just like it's like a small one, but we're just like, what we're gonna do for Raijin? Well, what does he do? It's like, well, he hurts people. No, but what does he actually do?
Yeah.
He drums.
So we're just gonna make him drum better.
I
Yes. now
mean,
he's a better drummer.
it
for
is
sure. But on top of
definitely
that, we've got another change to Raiju as well.
RP.
We're adding an initial hit to Raiju to better
It's
allow
RP.
you to, feel like you're doing something with this ability versus, you're
And
trying
I'll
to chase
give
it down.
them
At least
that.
if you hit it, you've done a little something. You've got your item procs or whatever it might be. It's just a little bit of a nicer kind of loop for you to be able to hit it and then pop it. And if
Yeah.
you miss the pop, it's not the end of the world. And then on top of that,
Huh.
Thunder Crash is going to be seeing a slightly reduced pre-fire and setup time, which means that
That's
it will
more
take you
impactful
slightly
than
less time
anything.
to get into that immune state. So hopefully a little less interrupts for our boy Raijin, who seems
That's
to
better
find
to
himself
him
in that
than anything
situation
else
a
he
lot.
got.
Hurts every time.
Yes.
Soul shattering.
Yes. So hopefully, he's not going to be crazy immune all the time.
Yeah.
It's 0.1 seconds, so it's going to be literally the blink of an
Their
eye, if
margin
not
is
even
almost-
faster than that.
Cool.
But that's Raijin. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
Raijin? Okay. Awesome. So next up on the mage tree, Thoth. We got the
Weird.
scary bird.
Very
the
weird.
Scary Bird, not currently quite so scary.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
But also, one that we wanted to be a little bit more careful about. Thoth is one of those mages that, like, he's probably one of the
Don't-
truest artillery mages.
Don't
characters
buff
in our
him.
entire
Don't
game.
do it.
Yeah.
And that
It's
has a
a
very
trap.
specific playstyle.
I
that
love
we want
Thoth,
to be
and
careful
it's
not
a
to
trap.
interrupt. This one is a little bit more of just like a general balance that's very focused on making sure that twofold. Like as the game goes on, Thoth continues to gain in strength, which is kind of the idea in that passive.
Yeah.
And in doing so, Thoth's going to be gaining percentage magical penetration instead of just a flat penetration.
Okay.
So game keeps going on. He's still getting better in that regard.
Yeah.
And also, Thoth struggles a lot in game modes where he's got a farm, specifically Conquest, honestly, where you've got the lane minions, you're hitting those gods, but you also need to dip into the jungle to get those.
Really?
Yeah, my jungler's not on my red buff and I'm playing Thoth.
it's
I'm
super
very
sad.
sad.
Yeah.
Now Hieroglyphic Assault will be dealing additional damage to jungle minions specifically.
Okay.
So he's already got some of that gameplay loop for the gods and the
That
the
makes
different ways
sense.
for the AO1. Or for the first ability, say that too often. But now
That
the jungle
actually
minions
makes
themselves will be
sense.
taking more damage. Outside
Giving
of that,
him
Glyph
more
of Pain, the
pen
third
makes
ability will
no
be
sense.
you're
That
going to
makes
get just a small buff on the basic attack damage through the glyph. So kind of incentivizing you
That's
to actually
fine.
play with that mechanic, which I don't think many people do right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is there, and it's not like I'm saying no one does. It's still important to do when you can. But now we want to just incentivize that playstyle a little bit
more and more work.
Yeah.
It also helps out in like in jungle boss objectives and stuff like that for your team.
Towers.
Yep, towers, absolutely.
True.
And then finally, the ultimate final judgment. Well, we just had wanted to reassess how good it was, and it wasn't quite reaching that level of spice. So we want to make sure, whether it's similar abilities like Ra or even like Raijin with multiple
buffed
procs,
his
how much damage
ultimate.
is this really doing? And just
gave him
kind of bring it a little
percent
bit back in line.
penetration.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. Again, be aware
Huh.
that even with it in line, we fully understand that the final judgment going through the Glyph of Pain is still a good combo, and it should be because you're kind of setting that up.
Yeah.
So
it
just,
takes the effort.
but
Well-
that's 2 abilities for 1.
Cool. Well, fun fact, I kicked my bed frame the other day and made the same noise he makes when he ults. So that was just thought you deserved to know
Thoth's
that.
gonna
That's for
be
everybody
real
out there.
strong. Thoth's
All right,
already
so
strong.
away from the mages
He's gonna be real
and onto
strong.
our solo laners. We have King Arthur getting some love. Getting
Okay,
some
King
some
Arthur
spice.
is
Yeah,
guys
this might be
suck.
the longest list of changes.
longest list.
I hate buffing
Well,
Arthur
really
because
don't
we all
think so.
remember
But
when
let's-
Arthur was
Yeah,
OP,
Yeah,
but
let's dive in,
Arthur
shall we?
is
So first up,
literally
Steadfast,
one
his
of the worst
passive.
guys in the game.
A lot of people go, King
Bottom
Arthur has a
five.
passive? And I go, yes, he does have a
It's a
passive.
very good pass.
It's very good, actually, but we're going to make it a little bit better. We're shifting it a bit.
Okay.
So first thing that we're doing here is we're decreasing the duration from 15 seconds to 10 seconds. They go, Lermy, that's a nerf. And I go, yes, you'll see why.
Yeah. Hold on.
So the max stacks are also being decreased from 4 to 3, so you just have to hit less abilities now to get it fully stacked, which
Yeah.
is nice. So your damage mitigation that you get from this ability is also going up to kind of counteract them. So from 1% to 2.5%, so you would be losing, overall a little bit from having the stack go down and the duration go down. Now you just have a lot more mitigation overall.
Yeah.
On top of that, though,
Top of that.
when players struggle with King Arthur, it usually has to do with the fact that he does not have any inherent sustain. He grabs lane aggro really easily, so you're getting beat up by minions.
Yeah.
So
a
now,
lot of
even if
HP
you're
5
grabbing the lane
too.
aggro, every time that you're hitting an enemy with an ability, you're getting 5 HP 5 a stack. So again, you can have an extra 15 flat HP 5. I was gonna say 15% would be a lot, but 15 flat HP 5 if you're fully stacked in
15%
lane, which,
HP
is
5
not
would be a
crazy,
lot
but
of
it does
HP
help.
5.
It does
Over
help.
time, it's definitely going to matter.
Oh yeah.
That
for
would
sure.
be a lot.
And that's just the first ability that we've worked on here. So
That
a lot
is
of changes
true.
there, but we've got some more coming up. We've got Battle Stop, which is going to be having a kind of squish on the slow. So it was going 20 to 40. Now it's going 30 to 40. That's the
It's a big
blue
slow at the
stance
start of the
2.
game.
Yeah.
A little bop, and then it is a
Little
little
bop.
slow in a circle. Twin Cleave, which is the blue 3.
What?
Is having
Is
an
it
issue
called?
fixed where it wasn't properly applying the protection reduction at the proper amounts. That's now
Win the
fixed.
cleave.
Is now
Which is
going
a buff.
to be, yes,
Yeah,
that
which
is
is a
that is a
win,
buff.
inherently. Just
Inherently,
That's
a
why
buff.
we didn't want to just put in like the bug fix section. Like this is a fixed buff.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, Blade Storm, which is the yellow version of the 3,
Yeah.
has
Okay.
its increased base damage per swing going up by
You heard it
5
too
in all
light,
ranks
yeah.
on the actual spin part.
Yeah.
And then on the final, spin
Nice.
is going up mostly in the late game. It's going up 5 in the early game and a total of
Okay,
25 in the
spinning
late game. So you're
harder.
kind of getting a little bit of a shift where the first part's going to help you out a little bit more in lane.
Alright.
The second part's going to be a lot more
We
useful
spin.
towards the late game where
Yeah.
you actually need that base damage a little bit more.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah,
All right.
a lot
that's
of
King
lot of-
Arthur.
That's
Gotta
King
take a break
Arthur.
there. King Arthur. I mean,
How many abilities does he have? Did we hit all of them?
No, we definitely didn't hit all of them. But I guess the post amble on this one also is just like, King Arthur, a character. I mean, I love playing in King Arthur.
Me
I just
too.
I
I
just
love
like pressing the W button and face smashing all the abilities
Oh, yeah.
in the incorrect or correct orders. But and as much as we have seen him in the past, even with his whether it's the item metas that have benefited him or not, he's never really been strong. That's okay. Characters don't need to always be strong.
Yeah.
But with the hybrid item shifts, with like the changes
Hasn't
in
he,
the
though?
hit proc item stuff, he's fallen off a lot. So like this amount of love is
Yeah, I
something
know
we wanna
he's-
just make sure
I know
we
he's
spread
not
it throughout his
strong
kit. It's
right
not
now.
really pigeonholing
But are we
it on
really
one
going to
component.
argue that King
Um,
Arthur's
and
never been
To
strong?
be completely honest, I would doubt all of these changes are going to push him to the point where he's going to be like 50% or above. And that's okay.
I
Not
feel
everyone's
like
not
I
used-
was there.
He is like a 37%.
Yeah, he's in a rough spot. But
Going back in just
we
a
just
little
want to make sure that it's not the wrong choice to play a character, right?
Yeah.
And that's bordering where King Arthur is currently. So
Yes, he just has a lot
And
of
especially for how
variance
fun it is.
between new players and experienced players.
exactly.
He's just a difficult character to learn, but once you master him, you feel really good.
he's a threat every time.
Yeah, feel a
Well,
little
cool. Let's
gaslit.
continue on then. Similar tree with
Ooh,
Osiris.
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, this is
Osiris,
pretty spicy
another
too. We-
bottom
we've
five
talked about
character
Warriors
that
in the
needs
past,
buffs.
and there's a lot to them. And we talked, I think, in the last patch about basic attack warriors and how they've kind of struggled a little bit. Osiris has definitely been one of them through and through this year. He's struggled a lot, maybe even more so than King Arthur actually. And that's or alongside.
Well,
They're neck and neck.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
They at least share this.
They definitely share in that struggle for different reasons, but albeit Osiris has had a little bit of a struggle there. So we want to help him out, and the first one, it'll definitely help, but Fragmented is passive, is going to increase the magical damage mitigation alongside the physical damage mitigation, so from the 1% to 2%, they're kind of going to be matching there. And also, when you have your full passive procced, you're going to have actually your attack speed increased by 20%, so playing on that in-hand, that basic attack motif. Now, the more spicy one, I would say, is like, well, Sickle Strike, that's his first ability that generally hits the first god, or first enemy that it hits, and that's all it does.
It's tough to hit.
It's tough to hit. And I know it's like the pre or mid ammo of this one. I remember being told a while ago, like a successful Osiris, you actually want to max your first one and just like forget the minions, just box the hell out of the enemy. And to me, it's like
it's challenging to do that.
That's
it's
hard.
really hard.
Not easy. Easy to say, not easy to do.
But now that projectile passes through minions and stops on the first god. It's a lot easier, but in an attempt to make sure that this still feels fair, because like we said, we're not just about turning weaknesses into strengths. This will still only do 50% of the total damage. So you still want to make sure that you're hitting the enemy god. You still want to get kind of the best bang for your buck there. But his clear was never really the most obvious thing to do, and it was a little bit tough and kind of something that you just got better and better as the game goes on, of course, like most warriors.
And he is known as a lane bully, right? But like it comes with being very strong and knowing how to manage the minion aggro, and this will just be a little bit better at keeping the aggro a little bit more balanced.
Yep. And finally, to help with that balance with the enemies as well, Judgment Tether, the third ability, will decrease the enemy's attack speed by 20%. So you're actually going to see a little bit of a swing there when you have your enemy tethered by your Judgment Tether and your passive is now fully procced. You get that 20% attack speed yourself. You're going to see kind of a fun little swing there. So, also on that passive note,
Judgment Tether is a really cool ability in theory,
but
get
that attack speed
there's so much movement in Smite that
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, a super great way to win engages. If you have your passive ready, you have tether ready, get in there and fight and box with it.
Those are nice changes for Osiris.
Cool. Now we're moving into an area that I have always been a big fan of and continue to love seeing changes in. That's Guardians. So Athena is actually first on our Guardian list here. What's happening with Athena?
Yeah, so Athena is one of our bread and butter beginner guardians that I would recommend to most players. If you want to learn how to play a tank, I would say Athena is your easiest go-to for that. But when it comes to how she's doing in the higher ends of play, it's a little bit more difficult because the taunt is so predictable. The dash taunt combo, as you would think, is just, you see it coming from a mile away. She's got to charge it up and get in there. So the main goal of this change was to give her a little bit more flexibility in how she applies her CC. And of course her safety as well when you're taunting people. So first thing that you're going to notice here is that preemptive strike, her dash, is no longer going to have a slow. And you're saying, well,
it had a slow.
It had a slow. Yeah, I wasn't hitting people with this anyway. To be fair, it's you dash in to the range where you could taunt and then you do it for the most part. In laning phase, it was a little bit useful, but you'll see. Hold on, just hold on for a second. Let me cook. Confound. This is the taunt. So again, in the late game, you're taunting a hunter. This hunter's just gonna kill you.
Yeah, you're
taking 3-4 autos to the face. Right. That's gonna hurt.
You're taunting and trying to strafe to avoid that.
And then you're wiggling them, and your team's hey, I need to try to hit them. And it's not a very what's the word I'm looking? Intuitive loop.
Loses a movement speed
so
slow,
now when enemies are taunted, their attack speed is
speed
decreased by 30%. So you're getting hit a little bit less often as the Athena is taunting someone. And now, the piece de resistance. Shield Wall will now have a 20% slow debuff effect for 2 seconds.
She found
her
slow
both
again.
parts of this ability.
Okay.
Either part of this ability.
Yes. So you hit the initial, it slows, and then again it explodes after 2 seconds. So there's no way that you will have this slow on you. The first part of the slow for the second part. So it will only ever be 20%.
Yeah.
And then it will last for 2 seconds.
Yes.
So ideally, you could do the 3 taunt 3 combo, but you can also just taunt them into your 3, and that will still give you that slow. So either way that you do it, it'll work out.
Or don't just taunt them and just throw your 3 in a team fight, and it's still going to help in that regard.
It will still help. And then on top of that, one more thing that we have here for Athena is Defender of Olympus. Now it has a new effect that the allied god that is targeted by this ability gains 20% weapon speed.
That's a big
So you are
buff.
effectively saying, I'm on the way.
Okay.
Get the heck in there.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, I was actually really curious if you were going to say get the heck out or get the heck in. And
that's great.
That's
for
literally
both.
W play, right?
Yeah.
Get in there. I don't care if you're
Get
at
in
5% health. I want to be there and kill the enemy when you die.
Get me in there. It's for me.
Get me in there, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's super cool. I love it.
Okay.
And yeah, I agree at the end there. It's one of those where it's like, oh, that'll help them escape.
That will definitely
oh, that'll
change
help
how
them run
Athena
in.
plays
Like,
for
it's really-
sure.
But that's the
your
point. You
poison.
get exactly. You get to choose
Yeah.
either one.
So super cool. Next up, another one of the we're talking old people in Smite. Another one of the OGs. We have Aries up in here.
Yeah, Aries, God of War. We wanted to make sure that he felt appropriate.
Stop it!
Especially, you know, there was a lot of
No!
push that we could have done here, but we wanted to make sure we felt fair. And
No!
I'm going to put this
Stop!
out there. If you guys want to see more of a buff on this angle, I want to push this even
Bad
further.
high-res!
But Aries, he's going to get his general. His basic attack damage is increased from 38 to
I
40.
ban
Not
him
very much.
every
But on that
single
same
game.
Angle,
Stop it!
Aries also gains base attack damage per level.
What is
from
wrong with you?
1.55. Sorry, that's actually in the wrong place, but that's part of his general stats as well. His basic attack damage per level was 1.55. Now it's going to 4. So that means as you gain levels, you're just going to be doing more in-hand damage. This is regardless of scaling. This has nothing to do with your power. This is just your base in-hand damage. It is just getting stronger.
Bro.
On that same note, bolster defenses
Don't you
has
dare.
a little bit of a shift here. Its duration is changing from 8 seconds to 6 seconds, but that's because now Aries and allies that are hit by the bolster defenses actually gain basic attack damage while that effect is active. 0 at rank 1 to just make sure it feels a little bit fair from the get-go.
Yeah.
It's not just a one-hit wonder, but going all the way to 20. So you can see with this theme, while there are
There
other
is
changes, we want
literally
Aries to just be, you know,
no way
helping his
this is
teammates
not
and
an
himself
April Fool's
smack
joke.
enemies with that sword a little bit
There's
more often.
no
And then, like,
way.
shield bash as well.
Yeah,
Other things that's going to be happening, shackles. So let's see, as a note, because I know there's some nerfs in here too. I guess the last buff is no escape, the ultimate. 20% damage mitigation while
Okay,
channeling.
they
Sure, try and
decreased the
keep you alive while
shackles
that's going.
damage
Yeah,
at
you can get it off.
least.
But we wanted to make sure that we still
Stop it.
were
No.
assessing the changes here.
No.
Because this is honestly the god that we were thinking of when we did the first initial statement of Aries has seen a lot of change. We also did buff him in the last patch, but we wanted to make sure we still were in line with this kind of spicy god change that we were looking forward to. We just wanted him give him some help in the interim. But we're going to walk back a little bit on the shackles, decrease the god damage per tick from 25 to 105, just by 5
And they
basically
gave
per
him
tick
mitigation.
on that one to make sure that
Yeah.
you know we hit him with some shifts because we wanted to give him some love, and we understand that we also don't want to just bloat these characters or buff these characters to the point where they're just overpowered.
Exactly. And we're seeing a little bit of discourse on Aries as well, but he is kind of a one-trick pony at this point in time in current live Smite, where you hit the shackles and they die, and that's kind of the gameplay loop.
That's what I'm
Gives you a little bit more
saying!
depth where you can kind of
You
play this
hit
basic
the
attack style
shackles and
help
they
your
die!
basic attack team.
I ran him
and
in
especially
the
with
jungle
his
in
passive being
Grandmaster's
based around
Right
auras,
and got
you throw Shoguns
15
on there, you
kills!
throw a Talisman of Energy on there, you are really powering up those basic attackers on your team. So giving him a little bit more flexibility to have that wider, ability to be powerful in other comps where you don't have to be, a roar and hitting every single Aries chain, to be a useful character. Giving him other ways to be successful other than just being 3 chains.
Yeah, other than being the chain guy.
I got my
Well, hey,
blood
I'm all
flowing.
for it. I love the
Blood
abilities to get
flowing.
in some basic attacks. So any guardian change is good change. And speaking of, we have one more under the spicy category, and that's Cabrakan getting.
I'm excited by this.
Is this the craziest change in the whole patch?
This was one of the first ones. This was
This
one
was
that
one of the
honestly like
first
set the notes. It's just like,
Yeah.
well, who do we want to change? I want to
I'm
let's work on
malding.
some
I'm
Cabrakan
malding.
and another drummer boy in a different world. And yeah,
On the ground.
exactly.
Ground.
But yeah, so first up for Cabrakan is Tremors. This is the basis of every change that you're going to see.
That's
here.
right.
So
Yeah.
This is his 3 for those unknowing of the names of abilities, which, I don't blame you. There's a lot of abilities. But first things first, Tremors mana cost is getting doubled at every single rank. So it's going from 10 to 30,
It's crazy.
20 to 16. You're like, that is crazy. That is very, very high. But you'll see why. The cooldown of this ability is also going from 8 seconds to 3 seconds.
That's pretty short.
That is
Tremors.
one of the shortest
Wow.
cooldowns.
Also going to
in
be
the
burning through your mana pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
and
true.
you're probably wondering,
Wow.
I'm going to have no mana. What
Right.
am I supposed to use my other abilities? Well, yes, you're going to be able to. Here's how. First thing that we're going to talk about, though, is that his base MP5 is going from 4.6 to 8, so it's
Almost
close
double.
to doubling,
double,
pretty
yeah,
close.
that's a lot.
And he's also almost doubling his MP5 per level from 0.42 to 0.8.
Yep.
So you're going to have a lot more MP5, so that will just passively come back to you, but there's also an active component as well. So Refraction Shield is getting a decreased mana cost from high numbers to 10.
Yeah.
to 10.
Whatever number it was before at any
So yes,
level.
you do have to spend mana to use this ability, but it's going to be
Cat.
just enough so that you can get additional mana back. And so you'll be able to refund Cabrakan 10 to 30 mana per hit
Ha.
of any enemies.
That's right.
Minions, gods, whatever you're hitting, you'll be
This
getting
is
mana back. So you can burn
weird.
through a lot of your mana with Tremors, but you can also get it back really easily with Refraction Shield. And if you don't have anything hit, it'll come back with your MP5 as well.
Yep. Love doing that in lane because you just get like the 6 minions and they kind of tremor and they kind of like group up even a little bit and you smack them all with 2.
Smack them and your mana's back.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
of your mana back, if
Yeah,
not more.
exactly.
Cool cycle. Hey, as a Nerd Rage Cabrakan player, it's going to be a lot of rage, you know? It's going to be fun. So,
I guess.
all right, well, that does it for
That
the
was
the
weird.
spicier.
I don't
of
really
the
know what to
changes.
say. That
We're
was
gonna go through
weird.
Some,
That was
a
a
little less spicy,
strange set
still
of
important, still
changes.
good, but just a little less spicy changes on the buffs and nerf side.
I'm
And again,
gonna hit you with the post amble. One more thing.
please.
These changes, obviously, you know, we were very cognizant about and you know, cautious about doing changes like this. This is not something that we want to do all the time. This is something that, you know, we saved for the special occasion for characters that we think definitely needed the most. We are definitely very understanding that all of these are for the most part buffs, and it's going to cause these characters to be stronger. They generally all needed it, and it's something we're going to keep as we do with all balance, but I wanted to do a special disclaimer here. We're absolutely going to be keeping an eye on what this does to these characters, whether they go over the point of balance, whether it's perceived or
I mean,
statistical.
I guess they
And
were
if we
all
need to, you know,
fine.
dial things back a little bit, whether it's part of these changes or
a
alongside
couple of
it,
them were weird.
we will absolutely
Buffing
be doing so.
Chernobog
Definitely
was
hit us
weird.
with your feedback.
Apollo was
you know,
fine.
whenever
He needed
PTS
it.
things go
Thoth
live
was a
or
weird
Trust
buff.
Us
Why are we
Through
buffing
Crafting, we're
Thoth?
excited to see what you guys think.
Yeah,
And
if
then
you like to see
Aries
these
was
changes, these different
absolutely
changes,
out
we definitely
of-
would love to work
out
on
of
more
this
of them.
world.
They do take some time in the kitchen, though. We do want to
Like,
put a lot of care and
that's
effort
a
into making sure that these changes actually feel
mind-boggler
good
right
and
there.
don't break things, you know,
Yeah.
fundamentally with the kit, because some of these characters are old, right? Sometimes that, you know, different hands being on characters that have passed through the generations of Smite developers, you know, sometimes will not be able to do everything that you wanted to do, but, you know, we like to work with what we have and kind of get a little, what's the word? I can't even think of it. You're getting a little spicy with it.
Exactly.
Is basically the
a
idea.
little crazy. Get a
We're
little
not
wild.
hitting these gods arbitrarily. That's the main thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a lot of testing to actually go through and like, can we do all these cool things? Like, will it work? Will it feel good? We had, you know, weeks of testing that we were like, okay, let's pick Aries this test. Okay, let's pick Cabrakan. Let's just like make sure that we're people having lots of different people try. We had the esports casters come in and try
that's
this,
right.
so we had all kinds of eyes on these changes as well.
Yeah, every skill level, we have people who are like, you know, I've played Arena 6 times. We're like, come try this out. We want to know how it feels on somebody who doesn't play the game as much. And then it'll be the casters or pros. Like, it's crazy the amount of work that goes into it and the amount of listening we do to the community to try to figure out what we can change to make y'all have the most fun. Because again, at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
They
You know,
buffed
is
Aries.
how can we make this as fun as possible? So thank you for the preamble. I love the preambles. So this is the premium spot, pre and post amble.
Sorry, I'm not over. I'm not over
And
yet.
mid ambles too. We should coin that. All right.
If ever
let's
got
move
us
some
OP,
more
then
general
only
buffs and nerfs.
Aries
I'm gonna
is
say it again.
OP.
Patch notes might not be live right now. Probably not. They want to be live. We're trying to get them live.
Like
But
will them into existence like they are right now.
I'm working on it. Well, I've printed out I was gonna print out 70 million copies and ship them to everybody watching the show, but I like trees, so sorry.
Oh, fair enough.
70
Yeah.
million?
Someone is thanking you.
Yeah, exactly. I did it
There's
for him.
like-
So
there's
anyway,
no way
they'll be
there's
up.
more
These aren't
than,
all of the
like,
changes. You'll be able to look over more of them
8,000
when those
people
notes aren't able to go
watching, right?
live. Whenever we fix the internet, one band-aid
Yeah,
at a
fix
time.
it.
Working on it. But here are a few of them that we thought were worth talking about, starting with Amaterasu.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so Amaterasu. Last patch we did. I feel like I'm doing a recap. Last patch.
Last patch.
Hey, it's a Lurby preamble. Let's go.
Last
Last
time on
patch,
Update Show.
We had a couple items that saw some changes for our basic attack warriors, but Amma was still kind of falling behind the pack. She was not really keeping up, even though we did buff basically all of her items. So we wanted to give her individually a couple of buffs as well. So first things first, Illuminating Strike's debuff duration is going to be increased from 5 seconds to 6 seconds.
Okay.
So not only is the actual circle debuff area going to last longer, but you now have more time to actually apply that debuff.
Yeah.
By 1 second, so you know it's not crazy, but it is significant. And secondly, Divine Presence, this is her one. On use, whenever you are healing, so, you know, when you use that ability, you get a tick heal, basically over time. Amaterasu will gain attack speed for that whole time that you are healing. So when you change the stance, you get 4 seconds of attack speed, and then once that healing is done, you no longer have the attack speed.
I just love it. Just you know, we've identified god buffs and like spicy god buffs, and even just giving Amaterasu attack speed on this didn't quite hit the spice factor.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
It's-
you had the salt, but you didn't have the pepper.
close.
Yeah.
It's very close. It's not quite there.
You zhuzhed it up, but you forgot that last little bit. So, but that's still a good change. Awesome. Next up, one of our favorite little tricksters, Maui, actually getting some.
Yeah, Maui god that has definitely entered the battlefield and was striking pretty hard, showing up everywhere. But even at the times where he was at his strongest, he was one of those characters who just like never was actually doing that strong for the masses.
Statistically
for the
speaking,
Honestly,
he's
sometimes
been one
when
of
we say
the
things like this, we don't just
worst
mean for the casual players or for other game modes.
the
We also
average
just mean for
player
like
in Smite,
even like the ranked
since
Conquest
his
players all the
release.
way up to like Masters or something like that.
Yeah.
He was there a lot, but he might not have been doing too well. So he needed
He
a
was
little bit of
very
love, and
similar to
wanted make sure he
Persephone,
spaced
where
that
she was
the
being
time that would be
played
appropriate.
in
So
like
Master
SPL,
Fisherman getting a cooldown decrease
and
from 60
everywhere
to
else
14
kinda
to 14 to
sucked.
12. That's 2 seconds at all ranks. It's pretty sizable.
Great.
Increase the damage as well from 100 to 360 to 100 to 380. So nothing in the early games where you're getting a lot of benefit from that cooldown, but hitting for the late game and for the mid as well.
Yeah, a little more impact.
Mystical Ulua, decrease the mana cost from 55 to 75 to 55 at all ranks. Just a simple one there, just so you don't feel as punished for tossing the Ulua out to your teammates. And as you can see, simple changes there. We don't want to go crazy with Maui. We know he still has a lot of potential. That ultimate is still fantastic for team fights, but just get him a little bit more in line.
Yeah.
Super
exactly.
cool. All right, so next up, we have Charon.
Yeah, so this is a nerf. Just to
Bad-
clarify, we're
bad
heading into
dog,
nerf
baby.
territory.
On the nerf side now.
So Charon has been
Yeah,
surprising.
that's
We're
me.
so excited to see
Uh-huh.
people excited and playing him up in the ranked, but he's doing really well in basically every single game mode. And I'm
Turns
like,
out boat's OP.
yeah, he's pretty good, and a lot of that comes with his safety. But the first thing that we want to talk about here before we get to that is Damnation, which is the attack speed slow circle that reveals and shields, all that good stuff. But we are going to be decreasing that attack speed slow from 30% to 25%. Just make it a little bit less annoying in lane, especially because it is an ability that comes up relatively often. It is kind of hard to hit, so you do have to hit this kind of medium-sized circle.
Yeah.
But when it does hit, we want it to be just a little bit less effective.
His
And
kid
now,
is so
finally,
easy
we can
to
talk
hit.
about
It's
his
so
safety.
easy to hit
Safety,
everything.
the
So-
paddle.
Swift Voyage, when he just paddles like mad.
Yeah.
This cooldown was 15 seconds for a 2.5 second channel, but now it's going up to 17 seconds, down to 15 seconds at rank 5. So he still will get to that same late game safety level where he probably
These are
needs it
not-
the most, But
these are
in
not
the early
doing
game, he will
anything
not be
so
as
far.
safe.
This
it
is
will
a
be 2
whole
seconds longer
nothing
on that
burger.
cooldown for him to paddle away.
Got it.
Or paddle in, either way.
Yeah, however you want to
Yeah.
do it. This was almost a spicy change because I recommended that we drill a hole in the bottom of the boat and
Hey,
give him a plastic
he needs
cup.
that.
Oh my
Every
God.
17 seconds, he has to scoop out, but shot down. But maybe next.
Sounds amazing.
Don't do that to Otto.
That's true. I do love the boat. All right. Next on the list, Jormungandr.
That was literally
honestly
a no
not
change
one that
to
I thought would be
Charon.
on this list anytime soon,
yeah,
and
right?
one that I'm still
Okay.
surprised
Wild.
is there. A god that we've been trying to buff throughout the year, and he finally reached that point. Whether it's the item changes, I think that were a pretty big help with the shifts on the tankier builds. But once people started playing him, the stats shot up. He has been doing very well. It's quite the opposite. So that would make me think as well that like a little bit is just the hesitance to I put this very lightly, but the hesitance to try him, hesitance to do something a little bit out of the mold, because as soon as people started doing well, even though the items themselves got nerfed, he remained doing still quite well.
Doing good.
Past any
Clear's
of the god buffs that we ever
good.
gave him. So just a very slight slap on the wrist here. Venomous Haze, that first ability, the spitting poison.
Jorm says, clear, good.
Hmm?
I like
Reverse.
clear. You clear, I
Okay.
clear. We all
Slap on
clear.
the. I was like, did I say something that I should have said? No. Slap on the tail that he also doesn't have. Slap on the noggin.
He does. It's just really far away.
Yeah, exactly. Decrease the base damage per tick from 50 to 55 to 10 to 50. So just 5 per rank per tick. Just a small hit there, just to make sure that he doesn't feel as oppressive, especially in the solo lane where you can just like drop this on the totem, drop this,
Totem, Bastion,
Yeah.
cooldown buff, any of those.
Insert objective in a
or throwing it all over the
station.
Stygian beacon area. And stuff like that. Like those are some of the reasons why it's good. Is just like the map and the macro has changed too.
Yeah,
he's been pretty
exactly.
favorable for those.
Yeah, little bonk to the danger noodle. All right, so that's it. No other.
No other changes. And as a preamble to this one, as
Do we need to preamble?
No. I'm gonna let you take this. Why do you think I chose this order, by the way? As Harrison said, these aren't all the buffs and god nerfs that are there. These are just ones that we
true.
wanted to talk about during the season. They'll be on their patch notes show.
there's more.
Just because this section seemed small, it's not. But we still have one more nerf.
We do have one more nerf. Marty's getting nerfed.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
we're
God.
not surprised at
Yeah,
this point.
no,
I don't
we
really
do.
think we need
Y'all
to
asked.
explain why
Oh,
he's
God.
here.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about what is happening
Sure.
to poor little Marty. So for his passive Monstrosity, we are decreasing the attack, or not sorry, the attack speed, the lifesteal, both the ability and the regular physical
Good,
lifesteal from
yes,
0.7% per stack to 0.5, so going down quite a bit
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Poison
him.
Barb, this is the 2. The root will be on a 13-second cooldown at all ranks versus 13 down to 11. This is to give him a little bit less of that consistency C, so he's got to really be careful about that combo.
Yeah.
And then the thing that everyone's been talking about, Death from Above.
It was.
So Death from Above does do a lot of damage, that is for sure. So what's happening here is the scaling
Nice.
per burst is going down by 4% per burst.
Yeah.
There's 12 bursts. That is a 48% scaling nerf.
Big number.
That is a lot of scaling that he's losing on that. And additionally, the cooldown is going from 90
Good.
seconds to 100 seconds. And yeah, 48% scaling is
Those
definitely
are
going
big
up to
nerfs.
That is a lot. That is maybe the biggest damage nerf that we may have ever done, other than like removing a damage from something. But it is a lot of damage that is going away from that
Yep.
ability. But
Super crazy because nobody asked for it. Like nobody's
Yeah,
even talking.
I'm very excited
No.
to see how this shifts his stats.
Yeah.
yes.
if at all.
So,
Interesting
so we're
to see it.
keeping an eye on him. If he needs more nerfs, we will
better.
continue.
This is a lot.
But this is a very, very, very large nerf.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah,
he
he
has,
has.
yeah, this might be like a spicy god balance, but on the
Good,
nerf
yeah.
section.
Yeah, he has
Good.
wrist, and we slapped like 2 or 3 of them. So.
Yes, he's got 4.
He's got 4.
He's got 1 left. Let him have his 1
Yeah, we let him
wrist.
keep the 1, but you know we'll keep an eye on it.
Take
So,
that, Marty.
Cool. The last thing to say is there's some non-conquest change, but that's going to be on the patch notes. So just look at that when we get those out to you. It will be as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah.
So now we're diving into one last thing, and that is the Odyssey event.
Ooh, I'm
Yeah.
excited
Get an
for
Odyssey
this.
coming with the
Yeah.
season of celebration, and what better way to celebrate than with an Odyssey? So for those of you unfamiliar, Odysseys are these huge, crazy events with a ton of cosmetics that go over like several updates. So this will be kicking off the season of celebration, and it will be around for a while. And it is also the event in which we feature our new T5 skins, and we'll be going over the skins in just a moment. But like a lot of the other events, you progress in several ways. There are rewards you can unlock by getting or by purchasing and rolling chests that are from event things. So look out for those. You can unlock free rewards as you move through the event by obtaining these event-specific skins. But there are also going to be quests that come out with this, and quests will release every week, and you complete them kind of linearly. So you have to complete quest 1 to get to quest 2, and they'll be releasing. Oh, no, I said every week. They're going to be releasing with new updates of this. They might be weekly. There's a lot of stuff written down, and admittedly, I've been so excited about getting to the skins and talking about stuff that my brain is a blur. I'm a Smite fan who's hyped up about everything. So it's just a super huge event with a ton of incredible content. I mean, our teams always go as hard as humanly possible to make all of this stuff incredible, so make sure you check it out. Like with all of these as well, there will be a buy all option right at the beginning, which is probably the most economical way to get through the event, because you will be getting all of the content up front, so that's everything you see today, and all of the content that's going to be released over the next couple patches with this event. So if there's content that comes in a bonus patch, if there's content that comes with the next patch, which there is, you will be getting all of it as soon as it drops, including, again, everything you're about to see right up front. So let's dive into the first of our skins that we're going to show off, and that's Soul Shroud Charon.
Yay, Charon's first skin.
Got the boat,
Nice.
boy!
Yes, so this is a creepier take on Charon. I know a lot of people are very excited to see Charon be a little bit less jolly, a little bit less jovial.
Yeah.
This guy is full spook mode. He is a little alien looking, but he's kind of got this organic vibe to him as well that is
It
super,
is spooky.
super cool, and he certainly
It
is
is
scary.
spooky.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that he's like kind of a little bit more armored up in this vibe. It's like, you know, this is his true battle attire, and whatever plane of existence this one is. This is
That's
creepy.
Yeah,
That's
you will
true.
be paying the toll.
You will be definitely paying the toll. And I figured for this one it would be fun to go in game and check. It's his first
Yay.
skin. You got to go in game.
It's spooky.
Oh, there he is. He's got the creepier water down beneath him.
The creepier water.
It is. You know, the
Sticks got even
100,
stickier.
no, 16,589.
But yeah, he looks sick. I just
And
love all of the like
18
illumination
seconds.
going on in the boat
Yeah.
as well. It just gives it this kind of like ghostly fire vibe, and
Yeah.
it's so cool. Look at that spirit that he's tossing out as well. I love to see it. And you can also probably hear that he is a little bit of a spooky guy. He may not finish all of his sentences in this skin because he's just so hungry for souls, you know. He's got to get some of those recipes, you know, from Raijin.
Hey, there you go.
True. If you're hungry, you got to get the recipes. All right, we got to see the ult. You know we got to see
Big ult. Yeah.
Would his surfing be on a
Dude, the water's so much, like,
boogie
darker, too.
board?
I just absolutely
that's
enjoy
tough.
this.
That one's
I mean,
tough,
I said this
even
about
even
Surtur,
around
it
these
stands
parts,
for
man.
Charon. I say this every time we make a new god. But the bow was something I was excited to see.
Yeah.
I was excited to see get the skin, and it looks super cool. And just like with Surtur and his giant rock, I'm excited for what new boats we will see in the future.
More boats.
This one is awesome.
Can't believe they said they were nerfing
So to
Charon,
continue
and then
down
they were
through the
like,
event,
we're
we
not
have,
going to nerf him.
another
You know what I'm
skin,
saying?
Shadowcaster Anubis.
This one is so cool. We had a human Anubis before, but this is kind of a different take.
Gooby
on
loving
human
that
Anubis.
Vamp
Anubis
buff
is
for
kinda
sure.
Like badass, like kind of thief vibe.
Not to
and
mention,
I love
Gooby
it.
can
I
get
haven't,
even
like
more
I say, sometimes when it
lifesteal.
comes to these shows, I haven't seen some of these, like the cards
Which
or even
scales
the skins
off of,
I'm not
like,
in some of the skin content playtests, but like
His like
this is
passive and
just sick.
things.
This is
you
awesome.
know?
It's a definite crazy take on Anubis. So to continue down the line,
Gooby could be
Neith is
really
showing up
good.
with
next
Sharpshooter
match. He
Neith.
could be good.
Ooh, this is more of like, you know, Neith usually has some like cutesy skins.
Yeah.
like the weapon she's using. Is
Yeah,
pretty
she
cool.
has like a modified crossbow gun.
Vampire.
That weapon does look
to me.
legit.
Yeah, it's the middle of the night, you know. She's got the bolt ready. Maybe there's a little silver tip in there. or
Stop
something.
making Neith skins.
Maybe
No,
a
you will
bit of
get Neith
knockdown.
skins and Anubis skins and Chalk skins, and you will
yeah.
buy them
Yeah.
because you
Could be
always
an
buy
item
them.
that she's hunting
And
down.
Hyros knows you
Probably.
always buy them. That's why they make them.
Watch out.
Well, especially that ultimate, she can go.
What are you gonna do?
That's true.
Not
She's
buy
hunting
it?
down whoever she wants to hunt down. Super cool. So next up on the list,
If you're gonna buy it, at
Dragon-
least use our
Dragon
Nexus
Templar
store, okay? We
Alquan.
get part of
Cool.
that.
I'm excited about these. So these are
gonna buy it, I
these
know you
upcoming
are.
skins are recolors
Right.
of past limited Odyssey skins. So
Oh,
you know,
that's sick.
it is the season of celebration, right? So you want to celebrate 10 years of Smite,
Of incredible-
many Odysseys, and this is one way to do it, is to bring back one of those super exclusive, well, I guess exclusive is the wrong word to use, but limited skins
Yeah.
from a long time ago in a new set of paint, really.
Yeah, true.
And you'll be able to get it.
Yeah, so part of the theming. These are some of the reward skins actually. So that would be this one and the next one, which is Infernal Blaze Acne.
This one is a super cool take
Yeah.
on Agni. I think it's super cool to go kind of that like necro,
But is it?
like kind of vibes, or like
Super
the what is it? We have other themes that are kind of like this with the soul skin too, or the Baron skin that's like a little radioactive.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's such a cool look for him.
it really is, and I think the green suits him. The charming green smile too, which is offset by
Not
this very
creepy
soul
at
face.
all.
No, not even. So cool. And then last but not least, and this one is one that I'm super hyped about. I'm sure y'all have seen us tease it on our socials, but our new T5 Dragon Shifter Medusa.
Oh man, this splash art is kick ass.
It really is. It's a T5, as you can assume. There are 3 different versions of this skin, each with their own dragons, because she is a dragon shifter.
It's a series of sisters. So all of these,
Oh,
all
yeah.
these sisters will change places when they battle.
Yeah.
And you know, every time you ultimate, you'll see a new sister come out and go after their prey. And each of them have a different, you know, kind of style of hunting. You've got the ferocious flame dragon. You've got the undead skeletal dragon. You've got the alien kind of.
Carapace dragon.
Yeah, carapace dragon.
Oh, which one's
Super
this one?
cool.
I
This
can-
is,
I
this
can
is the
only
undead one. She's got
Oh
kind of
my
these
God.
bone
Fire.
race, and they don't have like even eye sockets.
Yeah,
Like,
there
these
you
guys are
go.
creepy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, her like the bones you can see through the material. That's
It's so cool. I adore this one. This one might be my favorite. It's so hard. They're all so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the death variant, or the bone
tail too.
dragons as well.
Like see-through too, which is crazy.
And then here's our
Oh,
final variant, where she's kind of got that alien kind
Spitting
of.
toxins.
Oh yeah, she's got a little poison going on and just kind of flowing about. And that kind of ties back to original Medusa too. That has a little bit of that
Yep.
poisonous.
Even like the Gorgon sister vibes.
Looks cooler than
Yeah.
quite a bit
Like
of the
time.
other tier
Oh, yeah.
5s in the
It
game.
really is.
so.
Super
I'd
well
say it's
done.
an above
And
average
as
tier
with
5.
any incredibly well done piece of work, which I guess they all are, but you know the T5 has got to get that in-game view. So
Oh, absolutely.
let's check it out.
Oh, and there it is.
Which it's just so crazy to think like this is Medusa, you know? It's such
Yeah.
the concept is so far away from what Medusa looks like. at her
Definitely
base.
doesn't
It's crazy
look
how thoughtful
like
and
Medusa,
How
for
many
sure.
ideas we run through when we're making these skins.
It's gonna
Yeah, this turned
it's
out
gonna definitely
so
throw new
cool.
players for a loop.
Like the most badass like trio.
Oh, they look.
That's awesome.
Really out there. Not to mention like the whole pet concept and like all the extra
It
animation
does
effort that
look
had to
more
go
like an
into-
ulting
sick.
Scylla.
Medusa having legs. Can we talk about that for a second?
True.
Medusa doesn't typically have legs. Now she has legs, she has wings, she has a tail, she has horns. Yeah, she's got friends, and then, yep,
Oh,
you see?
sweet. I love that the ulti, like, color hue shifted middle. Like, that's...
Yeah, and I love that, like, there's the larger, like, I guess, main dragon head, or just a huge one that comes
Yeah, she's not
around.
showing all her secrets right away.
Yeah.
You gotta ult for that, or do the special emote in every single variant. You'll get that big boy coming out. But yeah, they summon all these various snake-like dragons, and they certainly are using them between every battle here. He's just a little guy. Look at the little guy. He's creepy, but he's a little guy.
It's even creepier when it's the tiny ones, because they're all, like, tied into a knot. And
Yeah, that's super creepy. I love that effect on it.
yeah. So obviously, as y'all can see, you
The
change
skin
between the
is
sisters as
really
you ult.
cool, but I
It's also,
don't
like, the
love it
two
on
dynamics. It's
Medusa.
the new sister coming in that's ulti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I guess I did notice that. That's crazy. Call out.
Like,
And yeah,
I
as
feel
always,
like
our
it
effects
is
teams and
cool,
our sound teams, like,
but it
the
just
animation-
doesn't
animation
feel
and tech
like
that
it's
this was
Medusa
required.
at all.
Yeah, people really put their all into this kind of stuff, and it shows. And it's crazy too. Like, I don't know a lot about. Let's go with audio, because I talk a lot with Kellen, who y'all might be familiar with. He does a lot of cool audio.
Like, I
breakdowns
play
on
this
Reddit and
game
stuff.
for
But,
a living,
I talk to him a lot more frequently.
and
now,
if you
and,
showed me
it's
this,
crazy how much
there's
stuff they
no
do.
world that I
Like,
said Medusa.
Hey, like, this
no
effect
world.
actually sounds too high pitched. The laser should be slightly lower pitched for this and this and this reason. Like, it's stuff that I would never think about.
All the details that go into it,
Yeah.
especially like baking in some of the like original.
Yeah, they had the
Medusa
problem with
sounds
the
as well
last tier
into it,
5
so
as
that
well
even though
on
she looks so
Fenrir.
different,
But
you'll
like the skin
definitely
itself
hear
was
a little
pretty
bit of
cool, but it
callback
looks
to all those
nothing
OG
like
sounds.
Fenrir.
That specifically helps a lot for like gameplay and reaction.
Nothing
When you
like
don't know,
Fenrir.
who's nearby you, those bass like sound effects being built in.
Yeah.
Really helps keep that, you know, basically.
Yeah, it keeps it from being like being like, who even is that? Like, I don't know. Like, that way, you know, if you've played the game before, you can recognize, okay, like, I hear that noise, she's ulting, you know?
Yep, exactly.
So it's just the amount of work, and that's just an example for audio specifically. There are examples like that across every single form of creative process that goes into creating the final product here.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
again,
I think
I'm
my opinion
always in
is,
awe and will
I
always send
do
mass
like it.
respect
I do
to
think
our
it's
team
cool.
members
I
who
just
pour their
I
heart and soul
don't
into all of their work. We
I
should
just
credit
don't
them.
think the right
Yeah,
god
that's
was
very
chosen.
Awesome, awesome. Well, and that,
like people are
again,
gonna
that
be
is the
very
T5 for the
confused
skin.
when they get
This will be the
Medusa
final
ultied
reward.
from
So
the
as you go
character
through
that
and
they
get
thought was
a
like
bunch of different
Soul.
cosmetics, whether it's direct purchase or rolling chest or whatever, eventually you will unlock this, or you hit the buy all button and get it right up front. And actually, something I didn't say earlier, because I thought it'd be fun to say here, is the T5 skin you can get if you so choose. By getting to that
yes.
final reward, when in fact there are other options. Part of celebrating this Odyssey is celebrating 10 years of Smite, is celebrating the season of celebration. So as you get to
Can
this
we
final
celebrate the
T5
celebration?
reward,
Is
you
that
can choose
allowed?
the Medusa skin you just witnessed, and you'll have an awesome Medusa skin. But you can also choose, you can also choose an older T5. We have a selection of old Odyssey T5 skins that you can choose at the end of this Odyssey instead of the Medusa one if you'd so prefer. So if you're not exactly a Medusa player, then, you know, maybe you choose Baron's T5 or
Very cool.
yeah, there will be an option of different T5s available to you there. So not every T5 ever, but you know, there's still a choice, so
You're
that
not
you can
getting the
really
Thana
pick and choose
skin,
exactly
chat.
what you want.
You
and,
best get
celebrate
over it.
10
You're
years
not getting it.
of Smite and some of these Odysseys we've had in the past. So I think that's really cool, just because.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, like I love Medusa, so that's gonna be what I'm shooting for. But you know, if that's not your cup of tea, then there are other options because we want you to be able to get what you want the most out of it. So. And again,
Why
this
you
will
gotta
be
do this to
releasing
me?
next Tuesday, along with everything.
You might be
you've
able to
just
get the
seen, but I
Kukulkan
think
one. The
that's it. I think
Cuckoo
we
tier
did
5
it.
is really cool.
We did it.
We talked about like it's always
It's legit.
especially for these big updates. You know, there's always so much that we get to get into.
Aries
that,
tier 5 is
you
cool.
know,
You
get
might
to
be able
the
to
end,
get
you're
that
like,
one.
Oh man, like we finally got to share all this stuff. We
Yeah,
can move
the
on
amount of like work and apprehension from all teams to just like get to today, and like today's release, like all right, we did it.
We did it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go after
we
this.
also can celebrate.
Oh yeah, like the season of celebrating at my desk after this kicks off in about 5 minutes. The season of celebration season kicks off on Tuesday. So super cool. And again, thanks for coming out. PTS should
cool.
be going
Gotta
up
get
hopefully
one
pretty
last super
soon. As
cool.
always, keep your eye on
Yeah.
on
That
the
had to be
socials.
Sites.
me.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Dev Insights. That's going to be tomorrow. So
Yeah.
keep your eyes out because I'm sure y'all have questions. I mean, we went over a bunch
No
of
questions.
stuff. Yeah.
You get no answers.
Imagine a world where you sit down and on Twitter or on Twitch, everybody's like, no, y'all did good. Like, see you next
Hey.
week. Like,
If only.
if only.
Sounds like a great world.
You can cry offset. But no, so that'll be tomorrow at 3, so make sure to come and ask your questions, look over everything. And again, we'll have notes up as soon as we can. Sorry that they are delayed. It's just completely out of our control. We were looking at the site. It said, hey, this site doesn't exist right now, and we were, it's one of those.
Pretty sure it should.
Yeah, just but we'll have that up as soon as we can. But otherwise, I mean, it's a little fun, right? You learn some stuff here, get in the game in PTS, and figure it out.
Yeah,
It'll be
try it
fun.
out. Let us
Yeah.
know what you think. We're
Like
very
it looks
excited
fun.
to see some PTS gameplay as well. And
Yep.
excited to hear what y'all think.
Get cooking.
Get cooking.
All right. Well, thank y'all for joining me. It's been a
Absolutely.
wonderful show, and I look forward to seeing y'all again next time. Later, everyone.
Bye.
So wow, that's really bright. That's less bright. Some of the things look cool. Some of the things looked cool. Obviously, without like a patch notes in front of me, it's hard to remember everything that happened. Fire Giant Pit opened up. That is cool. They did not remove the shield buff from duo lane. That is not cool. They increased the amount of XP you get from neutral camps, which makes those camps even more important than they were, which is also not cool. They added the bonus buffs to the game, which I think at a high level of gameplay is going to be fun. And I think at a lower level of gameplay is going to be quite confusing. As the one concern I have with those is I do think that newer, not even newer, but like lower level / not as Conquest familiar players are going to be very confused by that. But I do think at a higher level that'll be interesting. The bonus starter items seem okay. They seem okay, but not very well balanced, maybe. There was like 2 of them that just seemed really leaps and bounds better than the rest of them. So maybe with a little bit more tweaking on the balance on that front. A couple of gods got buffs and changes that they needed, like Apollo, who just doesn't get played anymore. So that was nice for him. But then like Aries got buffed, which was like a hot take. And like Thoth got buffed, so the balance was pretty hit and miss. And then no behind the scene changes. So the patch looks okay. It does look different. So we'll see how much that it feels different. But it does seem to be, a new season, if you will. There will be some various gameplay changes that affect how the whole game goes. What I would like to see personally from Smite, more so than anything else, is I would like to see Smite do like an Operation Health patch the way that like Rainbow Six did. And I would like to see a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff get touched. I would like to see the matchmaking change, removal of ELO cap, removal of the TP system, moving to a straight MMR and hidden ELO system. I would like to see bans increased. I would like to see ranked rewards increased. I would like to see queue times increased for the matchmaking quality. I would like to see server merges for more players to pick from. I would like to see just a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily directly gameplay related, but all things that should make the grind more fun and long-term and worth it, and also each individual match to be like more competitive feeling. So that's what I hope that we get at some point in the future, is a big patch focused on that kind of stuff. Because this patch seems good. It seems good. I don't have anything against it, you know. But we're going to have to see. But thank you guys for coming out to the stream today. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a Twitchin' day, y'all.